Make it record, make it record. Ah! Slap them teacher tall belt. Ah. The hot over here, so. Big up on yourself, people. Big up on yourself. One more of them day there, you understand? One more of them day there, so I go on YouTube. Beat them teacher tall belt. Great Vibes Cartel. What do you think about Boy George? What make Boy George have to come to and say, yo, may drop a song, you know? What make him have to go some more drop in a reggae? Fuck. This Boy George look like him just want to come in our culture. Look how much he couldn't go do some country and some fuck. He might just jump over here saying a reggae, but make we talk about it. But is reggae ours anymore? I mean, I don't know. Reggae a few way? Anyway, we are talking about that this evening. Big up on yourself, yo Weasel, Lalabella, big up on yourself. Our Chevron in our place, of course, already. What am the Chevron? Tall bell for prime. Remember me tell you. Tall bell for prime people. Come on in. You catch yesterday's program? Of course you did. This is the best program on YouTube. Right, that's the best program on YouTube. We make everybody talk. I am a calm gentleman. I don't like to do too much I talking. I make you talk, debate. Sometimes you might not agree with the topic. It's okay, fine. Sometimes you might say, yo, Michael, you don't say fuck your talk. Fine. But everybody have them chance to talk. I may say Gaza prime. One thing you have to know with me, people. I would never be the guy who come up here so and you have a clip with me and tell some man SYM, yo, me come murder you. No, me not go down to the gutter with you. Me not do it. Once me see that you are triggered, you know your feelings, me will step back. Because me I go make you burn out. Yeah, me good pan that. Yes. Me good pan that. Me set you up fast and brisk. The loudest man in the room is the weakest man in the room. Me live by that. Me live by that saying. The loudest man in the room, you understand, is the weakest man in the room. Some of two and I talking and going, no. Even when me and Gaza uncle got it. Me just come and me drop on my job and that's it. You know, hear me I tell the man, that's why hey, me kill you, me know where you live, and your woman and your picking them. And then that nonsense. Because I'm in a YouTube tough. I don't know you. I might not see it in my entire life. So here comes Gaza Prime. Prime, you want to demand them owe me give. I don't say me give all a chance, but Prime, you want foundation. You forward. And it hurt me if you pull out the belt today. Not even the belt if you pull out the ruler. You know, back in the days of some fucking ruler. Wonder if that was child abuse back in the days. Some long ruler them principal used to walk around with, you know. You can't even run, then just extend it. Pie! In your back. Yeah, then that time I get to them. Prime, you find a home. And you make John Wick. Prime, you make John Wick run you out of your place. You make Chevron come up and run you out of your place. You make Lex Boss come over here and run you out of your place. Me can't believe. Me can't make this up. Even you test Prime, you make her run you out of your place. How that possible? How that possible? Prime, and you hurt me hard. Me in a pain when me know you hurt me. Me have to give a belt this evening, Prime. Prime, me hurt me hard because me I say, yo, Prime, I'm a youth for a long time. Me no care what John Wick say. Me say John Wick here me. I say, Prime, I'm my youth. Michael, a Prime on your channel? No, but yo, Prime, I'm a dubs. But him can get tall bell too. And here how me set him up. Here me set him up. As me say, you know have to argue with a man. You know have to argue with a man more time. You just find him weakness and exploit it. Prime like to be heard. I don't know why. It just like to be heard. So I say, all right then. Once him get nine feelings, the entire comment section, the entire YouTube I tell Mr. Michael, take down Prime the conversation and enough of Prime. Take down Prime. I said, no, I not time it. Why? Because me look on the big picture. Me know him in him feelings. So me know him might explode any minute. So me just give more rope. Him have a short fuse, so me give him the lighter. Say, see the matches that Prime. Go inside yourself. But me did rate the man. And hear me as an older man, me I tell you no, me can't rate it yesterday and today me I come back attack all sort of fuck about it. No, me just beat him gently. Pow. You see me I say? So because me did rate, I'm still rate Prime. But him do what him do. Because me I look on the future, me I look on the headline a certain Gaza man. The headline of the crux. Because me can't give John Wick the win. Me couldn't just take down Prime and block him. I said, no, me can't do that. Because John Wick I go jump for joy. You understand? Everybody know me rate Wick. But me rate Prime too. So me I say, yo, fuck. How me I go do this now? Because Prime did violate, you know. Prime violate about a month ago. Violate big time. And I say, yo, old boy, you know, so the brother have to get black from that time there. And I said, but yo, man, no Sean Star, me no liar like that to no man, but on a certain day, Prime cook. Prime cook when I film time. But on Friday daytime, Prime I right, man. Could I cut off me? Me could I go so boom and Prime, you run the Friday program. The bullshit Friday. The vodka rum Friday. Are you that? But certain conversation, just ease back now. And everything culminated in yesterday. Prime, you did have a house here, so. When a summer, you have AC. When a winter, you have the heat of them. Turn up. Everything at work, electricity. You have TV, you have internet. Everything. Your house. And you make John Wick chase you out. I don't understand it, Prime. I don't understand. I laugh all day today. All because me tell you make a next man wait. Me say wait, Prime, make that man there. No. I mean no, Prime. Just take it easy though. Make that the man they talk. No. And still, me do it my way. Me do it how it should be done. And you Jamaicans like to tell, oh, program on a pro. No. If me did that take program, everybody in the comment section, night you go up there. No, night can't come up as a condo. No. Because I know what night that can do. Night that come create a confrontation. Try calm Prime down. No, I don't want Prime get calm down. So night you stay there until me bring up. Just easy. Golden Eye, yo, Rambo, no, let me deal with it my way. Because I'm there on top of the ball. I just not talk about it. Action speak louder than word. I mean, no. So within a minute, anytime I go so boom, I'm a mute Prime, him I go blow up. And him I take himself off. And people, when you let somebody know your emotion, they can manipulate you. Fast and brisk. I mean, figure out how to manipulate Prime. Easy thing that. That's why we come up as in a January and say, "Oh, no, make that the big Gaza man, the old player, no." You say that. Oh, do it. But then that will be our next topic. We have 5 hours of recording for that, the man. They not 1 minute for me. But anyhow, we just tell everybody for Gaza. Come. You understand? So I just play my card to the T. Virgo, maybe. Me not gonna tell you. I play the long game. Chess, not checkers. And Prime, me do you a big favor. Me know you're listening to Prime. Me do you a favor. Tell you a favor what me do, what me give. Me give the same favor where the Lakers then give LeBron. A favor me do you. Favor me do you Prime. Like where them the LeBron. Like where them the politician. Like where them do the bigger heads them the pastor and something. Say, yo, you know, say, boy, it's sticky, you know. Yo, LeBron, you know, say, boy, yeah, we are moving on, you know, but you see, through your past legacy, the legacy we have on a union, LeBron, we are given the choice to say, yo, you're left. Put out a statement. But we know, we don't want your blood clot over here, so. LeBron would never left. Because I know I said 1 2 year, how much minimum. Where maximum where when they call them boy them, yeah, when they pass a prime, time pass in prime. And that LeBron get. We know, but then the LeBron the excuse to give we and say, yo, you know, say boy, tell them people they say, yo, yeah, go somewhere. But we know, put all the fire them fire. We know 2018, 2016, they won't do that. They wouldn't have you out there wait 7 weeks, 8 weeks, and the day before, then give statement. No, then give the choice and say, you take that. So that me do prime. Me I'm going to show you how me do it prime. As me said, the Lord is man always the weakest, man. Figure out prime and me say, yo, shit. Although me have to do it. Prime, it's all for me, my son, but he's like a father. It hurt me to do it still in prime. Because here, I have ego. You have certain people on the internet who me just fucking rate. Me don't know you. But when time I just start out, on come around and show me love, you would never hear me say nothing about Trey. Never. Because that I don't know where you find me from. But Trey always there. Always you know calling for 10 years. Once in calling, me just smile and say, wow. And I straight Gaza man that. Architect, me don't know architect. No. Me don't know when me have 2 subscribers, 2 listeners, architect when they there. In the comment section. Me don't know where you find me. Then you have Prime, you have Pepper Seed, Golden Eye, you have. You can't just get up and diss a man because yesterday I got this Prime today. No, but me have a flag him. Because he left, you know, him left. So when me do Prime, let me show you how, because I rate you when I do for you yesterday. Because I do it. When you did violate yesterday, yo, Michael, I couldn't mute and take you down. But I don't do that. I give you the rope. So the talking point now, nobody on the internet. Nobody, the crooks, you know, John Wick can go over there. John Wick supposed to have boom flick and all. Because I don't know they do each other. They just not like each other. And to me, John Wick is the Gaza version and Prime are the Crux version. Not just the same. Not just the opposite camp, but not the same guy. I just like it said. So John Wick a laugh now. But Prime, no talking point can ever be said. So me kick you off of the panel. Me never kick Prime off of the panel. Want to get that out straight. Me not no ego, so fine. Prime, you have a talking point can grow on the internet with. And when somebody say, yo, Nick, you kick you off, you can't say no. Come, really and truly, me never kick you off. Me facilitate the when I say, oh, you been so hype up now, like, you just know your emotion, and just play with it away. So me lead along the road which you're a good pan that. Me good pan that. And I multiple times I do it. So me I tell you, me see it come, me say night a buzz me, yo, me forward up. Me say no your time, man. Cause I got just blow up everything me have now. Cause me don't want to take down Prime. Cause me take him down, the streets are gonna look upon him and say, yo, my man kick you off a panel. Me don't want that for Prime. Cause me rate the man. Now because me and a friend again, that mean me never rate you yesterday. No, me can't rate you yesterday and I want man kick you in your back today. And nobody kick Prime in them back and say, yo, Prime in them back and say, yo, Michael kick you off. No. The truth is, Prime came down from that channel, from my channel. Prime remove himself. Stop support me. And all me see it now, as an old boy, Prime is like the woman when you and them have a disagreement, pack up them clothes and left. You no kick them out, you know, then pack up them clothes and left. All right. Or would I advise my son if he call me and say, yo, daddy, that's how I go on. I have no money, I know. I know money more than daddy. I say, all right then. Because you're in your mid-20s, you know, so you can take care of yourself. Anyway, where you want? Because right now, I'm on the podcast. Yo, daddy, you know, say, my woman just pack up and left. I say, eh? You and her did argue? Oh. And she pack up and left. Son, let me ask you something. The first time she do it? No. The second time, I say, oh. So, son, the first time she do it, you did call her, no? Call her back. Yes, but... Son, I go send you $300 now. Look by your phone, find 2 locksmith, and make them change the lock. I stay right here, so buy a ticket, and you find yourself at Jamaica. You have a house down there. Go down there, go stay for a week, 2 weeks. Find some pussy down the fuck, and love that bitch. But that no but nothing. No but nothing, because I tell you how it go. I tell you how it should be. You're a woman, you're a man argue. I'm not a prime woman, no. I'm just a scenario. Woman will manipulate you. Once she left, fuck that. She left. Now, I said that I said this. Prime jump up and left. I don't want to call back. Good. In good way in there. You understand? In good way in there. Yo, you violate. It's all right then, Prime. All right then, Prime. You're cut. I know a lot of them might agree with what I said. But me realize, in order to make my point reach to you guys, you don't love when me say, yo, this why I'm Prime there, of course, yesterday. No. I don't like that. No, go get that from me. No. And so, me not compare internet for internet tough. I don't mean that. What you see how you get. Me am go think behind the scene. If me I get an argument, I'm say, yo, you know, say, after 2 days, me look and say, you know, say, all right. Let me see. All right, maybe I can angle that better, you know. All right, then. And say me, but if you come by internet and argue and cause, it's for him, blah, 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 blah. All Prime did have to do yesterday, I say, all right. Everybody, even Eustace did there, Eustace as a Prime. Go listen to the program for yesterday. Before me cut, and White Knight destroy the thing. White Knight is my next madman too. Straight madman. Me come in my studio today. Everything changed up. That's a White Knight way though. Fuck. But anyhow, before White Knight come on, all Prime. Make the man talk. That's a simple conversation, you know. Make the man talk, Prime. Make the man talk. And Prime always I say, yo, no talk over each other, blah, 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 this, that, and the third. And he might do the same thing. I same thing Prime I do. I mean, as a Prime, how you make John Wick kick you out of your place, you have water over here, so electricity, heater when it winter, and then you have AC when it's summer, Prime, and you make the man and take you out of your place. Because you couldn't just hear, you couldn't just say, yo, okay. And after I just 60 seconds, and then you don't get the mic again. And then they start the way I do, and then it hurt me, Prime, and I like to you. It hurt me, because me the fuck with you. And that don't make me weak. You see me? Me can't there every day and I talk to certain people, talk to you every day, right. And we no develop a camaraderie. We no develop nothing. Me no fucking iron. Me no bored. You understand me as a people? Me there and Prime come on, him talk 4 hours, sometime 5 hours with me. And we chat and laugh. Life used to there. Life and Prime go back and forth. Pepper seed is there. I miss pepper seed, no fuck. You see me? But life goes on. That don't mean me no miss the people. Them. You see me? I'm human. I can't talk to you most days out of the week. Me talk to you. Most days. If Golden Eye should have cut you now, I miss Golden Eye now. Fuck. You see me? I just saw it thing said. That don't mean me a weak man. If you think that make me weak, then okay. Double mint. You see me? We talk every day. So of course, me go feel a certain way when I have to put tall belt for you. You see me? And yet still, you see when I come, I put it in a little comedic way. Me nah come and say this Prime certain way and say, hey boy, I know me that. And because me rate him, me give him the narrative. The narrative is, me never kick Prime off. Nobody can want like they want shame Prime and say, yo, Michael kick you out. No. Can't say that. Prime if he big me up. As some deal with people who me rate. Nah, come on and this year. You couldn't take this as this. And this is called a gentleman whipping. Pow! You understand? I know the gangster we are the getaway. I just said things. But Prime, moving on, just it's not all about you. I hope you learn something from it, Prime. It's not all about the individual. You go on a panel, it's not all about you. It's my show, I'm say the least. Because, all right, when Highlight come on, Genius come on, Double Min come on, even Davin come on, and you guys have a discussion. You understand? Lex Bass come on yesterday, and I'm talk about then distribution and something. Why should I interject? Why? And I do such a good job at talk. Me I learn, come here and say, yo, you know, it's that true. Come just sit and listen, you know. And I might see me I pray, but me I listen. I mean I learn, me I pick it up, me I say, oh yeah, true, you know. Oh, me disagree with that, you know, totally. Although me disagree, when I go jump in and try force my reasoning down your throat. No. Because me disagree, somebody else on the panel disagree and understand and go back and forth again. Make my job easier. But why? Because it's not all about me. Me not have no ego. You see me? No ego at all. But when me see that go overboard, I know, like how it was going yesterday, I'm just a Prime. Take it easy. No, me just, what's about? I think I even used this. One of the panel member was about to talk. I'm say, Prime, I can talk. What the fuck? No. Come on, Prime. Come on. And then what? Me just mute you for a minute. And you know who me never mute on the program? On this program, eh? I think me mute everybody. Me mute Doubles already. Me mute Davin. Davin get mute every day. Because Davin we get phone call while they talk. And me mute everybody. Everybody who come. And you know who me take down the most? Rambo. As soon as the panel full, a Rambo may take down first. You never hear Rambo complain. Rambo now complain. Golden Eye too. Me will go on, me now hear Golden Eye. Yeah, me might come and answer. It's all right, I jump now. And brrr, somebody else come up. I fall. Them not take it serious. White Knight black right now. I go black him now. Can black me yesterday. You see me? Prime, you know, that's serious, brother. And you get a whole heap of leeway. We just, because you get it so much time, I think, say, yeah. They have one saying, you know, familiarity breeds contempt. I say you go. Yes, I think I say you go. And because you're familiar yourself with me, you know, or you think you familiarize yourself with me, you know, then. But, and you know, me don't want to be the one who talk about, yo, you can't go over that, the channel go do that, you can't go do that over there, so. In which they're right, but I don't want to do that, you see me? Me focus on what I deal with right as so. I focus on. I appreciate everybody who forward, but just make somebody else talk. Just make, that's all we're saying, make somebody else talk. Prime, you give up your seat just because you know why it makes somebody else talk. And Shavin, you have our next one too. You just you come with an agenda that me realize. You come with an agenda. We have a good conversation. You come, Siobhan, you come with something totally different. You come to talk about Lex Boss or talk about somewhere else. We don't want to know about that, brother. I mean, give the platform, everybody has to kick him. No, I say, more you real, I say. Come on, I know you bring back around the point there to the topic. I know you not bring it back. Me don't know what Lex Boss wants to say for our next channel. Me don't know about that. And me no care. That me just not care. Whatever it's about it, me not care. But right now, I'm talking about the distribution thing we're going. And he was doing it so eloquently. He man break it down that even Prime, even Gaza Prime figure it out and understand. And then you come with your fuckery. No, man. Sugar and water, people. Sugar and water and lime, my best. Me not care nobody say. Coca-Cola, hell no. After you drink Coca-Cola, you still feel thirsty. How that? But this year, when you drink it, look like you go straight to your vein one time. Your whole body feel. But may I tell you, Prime, you just make your man and kick you out of your team. Just like that. Too emotional, brother. Too emotional. Control your emotion. More than love for somebody who watch me for so long. How much month now? About 6-7 months. Tell me, hey, how we can trigger Michael? More than love your child. Can I control my emotion? A whole lot of time people attack me. Hey, Michael. Hey, Michael. All right. I don't know you. People from other channel are cuss me out. And then call in. I mean, I first one big them up. Come on, internet this. Internet this here. What am I going to argue with everybody? I don't argue with nobody. I want man me argue with none of that man. The rest of people, them good. Wish them all the best. You see me? Now I go back and forth. But that's a Prime belt. Boy Georgia now. Oh my God, boy Georgia, the fuck. This flaming guy. Never do. Me not think that the man there know vagina feel like. I say, oh come, why? Why have you used Jamaican reggae? Why? They couldn't go to Afrobeats. You would sound better than Afrobeats, you know? Why have to give a tribute to them people over in the Middle East? Why have to give them pay for them tribute in a reggae? Why? Fuck. I can't even give him tall belt to, you know, can't go to love him. Can't give him tall belt because YouTube would have blocked me. Because you know the people who pay tribute to, and them run the system. Not even want to call their name too much in the algorithm, but I just saw it said. Boy. So tell me, if we do, even if we want reggae or not, I don't know. Beat them teacher at all. Let me see what I go on down here now. Prime. I can't read without my glass, you know. Honestly, I can't read with it. Yo, I love my people, them. I mean, I diss my people, them. You see me? I say things said. Yo, what go on, people? What go on with it? What go on with it, people? Drop the link. Boy, I don't know, brother, you know, normal. Boy, George should have go to reggae or sitting in a poor house. You did there sitting on a poor house. Poor house. Maybe you see it wrong, poor house. Come tell me poor house, because you did there. More people who did there yesterday. Come tell me what happened. Why Prime give up in seats? Why Gaza Prime off in the comment section now? Because in our company panel, you know. Because nobody name push out Prime, you know. See him like me tell me son, me say, son, if the woman they left and you call her You know, tell me the first time she left, you know. Back, I know she left, you call me. Son, you me as a man. If you don't want me come thump in your eye, man. Me no care how you know jiu-jitsu or MMA, me come thump in your fucking eye. I use the woman, I use you. Don't invite her back in your place. That me I tell you. And that catch prime now, you see me? That catch prime now. Come in and kick him off, I him jump off. I just say things at people. Lala Bella, what you think about Boy George? Lala Bella, if you have a second, please. What you think about Boy George really do a reggae song? Me no listen to his song, you know. Me no listen to his song, cause me I say no. Why him never go over certain other genre go do it? Why am I have to come a reggae? The hell? Oh, camera now work. Beat them teacher tall belt.
Michael gets a faggot.
David, what?
Where you going, Michael?
Me there try adjust the nonsense here.
Let me see. Yeah.
Kind of blur. People kind of blur, so with me so. So I go on David, when you talk about Boy George and him thing?
That me I say what I'm to prime.
Man, Prime jump off I program off I'm feeling yesterday. I understand what I'm feeling. So him have to stay off, you see me? People don't watch me on the screen, I know. Me I wonder what I want.
Get faggy.
Yeah, me faggy. Hey, what you say? Faggy. That word in the
now. Get blurry then, get blurry.
Get blurry, man. Say me faggy.
Yeah,
Lala Bella. Lala Bella, you saw it with Boy George?
Oh, say that again?
You saw Boy George did a reggae song?
Yeah. I saw references to it. I mean, really and truly, Boy George has been doing reggae from the 80s.
You see?
Right?
I never know that.
Boy George used to be in Jamaica a lot. You know what I mean? Jack Ruby Studios and other studios producing music.
Yeah.
So there isn't anything new relative to Boy George doing reggae.
Oh.
You understand? And, you know, reggae is just that genre of music that provides the kind of utility where you can talk about certain issues better than other genres. So,
okay.
So the truth being told is, you know what I mean, since we know that this isn't anything new for him, I'm not too sure if we should even put much thought into it. He was accepted in Jamaica. You know what I mean? I saw a feature where they were saying he would just show up at Jack Ruby's studio, record, keep it moving, and nobody would skip. I mean, remember, we growing up in Jamaica, we would hear a lot of Boy George music, right?
Yeah, Culture Club are the best.
Yeah.
And the war song, you see me?
Yeah. I don't think we should put much emphasis
about it, really.
Yeah.
All right. Point taken, you see me?
So you go for sure, man.
Yeah, man. And again, you know, reggae is just that genre where allow people to voice certain sentiments, whether we agree with the sentiments or the individual or not. Reggae music is just uniquely positioned to provide that level of utility, and that's what he's doing. And I think most of us are probably not even okay with the message in itself.
Yeah.
More so than even him, the individual. You know what I mean? Because he's advocating whatever the Israelis are doing in Palestine. Which is quite interesting, right? I think that should be the bone of contention, that reggae usually advocate for human rights. And when we think about it, right, remember Peter Tosh, when he was invited to perform in Israel, he elected not to go.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He protested Israel. And if you listen to the song Equal Rights, you clearly see what he's talking about. You understand? So that I think that should just be the concern, that someone is using reggae music to advocate for the oppression of people.
Yeah.
Potential genocide, potential ethnic cleansing.
But then he's advocating for the wrong side because he should be advocating for Gaza, but he's on Israel side. Or am I wrong?
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying, and we would hope that he would advocate for justice, right? And that's what Peter Dash was saying, that it's not about just peace. We want equal rights and justice. But
Yeah.
there's this other Israeli reggae singer, I can't remember his name, right? And he who mentioned that Bob Marley was a Zionist,
Mm-hmm.
does a lot of reggae music too. Can't remember his name. Start with the M. I can't remember his name, to be honest. So that's really my concern, that what he's advocating for in the song, based on what I read, I haven't listened to the song either. Him taking the Israeli position at the expense of the Palestinians is of concern to me.
Exactly.
You know,
But
say it's a thing that move when we see big star take up side for Israel with this genocide killing. It kind of it moved me inside. It hurt me a lot. But just keep it quiet still, because up here sometimes you have to be careful where you talk about these things, and then really because you don't know who listening, and up here
very man.
enough of the people them is with what going on, and the government itself to up here don't even like when you feel like you want to talk against Israel neither too. That even when people come out and lick out against it, it always brings some type of something come on after it. But it is
Mm,
very distasteful for hear an artist, a reggae singer, a hip hop star, whatever, sing in the defense of Israel with what's going on. I don't like it. I don't even want to hear the song, to be truthful.
no, I'm not
Right.
listening song. But
Uh,
wait, before I don't even want to go down that road, cause you see me, I love my channel. But when you said Lalabella, Boy George used to just pop up in Jamaica more time, yeah?
yeah.
But at that time Jamaica was really, at least dancehall was very homophobic that time. At them time that we get boom bye still in it. See me I say?
No, this was the 1980s, right?
Yes, still after that boom bye forward.
Right. And if you even listen to people like Muta Baruka, right?
Mm.
Muta Baruka will tell you that the community in question, they've always existed in Jamaica,
Yeah,
and
real.
they weren't bothered. They weren't bothered, and vice versa. They didn't bother the larger Jamaican community. Per Muta Baruka and people who would have experienced them. I think Muta Baruka even mentioned that one of them lived in the big yard where him did live.
Mm.
Understand? And everybody knew that he was of that particular orientation, but it wasn't per se a big deal.
Mm.
Now, we can be tactical in how we engage it. To Devin's point, right?
Mm-hmm.
It does rub us a certain way when we see musicians advocating
Yeah.
for the other position,
Yeah.
Mhm.
and and Ziggy Marley for one, right? As
Yeah,
Yeah.
right,
yeah,
and what I mean, I'm trying to be open minded as best as possible, because
Yeah.
we all have our ideology, we all have our own worldview, and within reason we're wrong, within reason we're right. What is right and what is wrong is what we
that
really
is
mean.
wrong. Yeah,
Seeing and this is why dialogue matters. And
Yeah.
and and if you think of Ziggy Marley's perspective, right, his interests, based on his marriage, based on his worldview, I mean, he is of the view that he's justified. And clearly, ever since I've seen and read about certain advocacy from Ziggy Marley, I've looked at him differently. You
Yeah.
understand? And that's just me trying to make sense of it all. Not to, when I try to beat up nobody, but
but
just
it's
try
just
to,
we have to see as facts, man. That's like
uh
what you see there, you have to talk about.
yeah, man. So to your point, it's perplexing. And as we say, right, we have to be very tactical in how we talk about it, given
Hmm.
how the algorithm work and capturing certain keywords and
Right,
what
right.
they'll do. Yeah, because there's no tolerance for any objection, to be honest. And one has just to be careful. I mean, you want to be a martyr or whatever it is when it comes to these things. It's up to you, as long as you know. But them not have a tolerance. And as I said, even with the virgin there who mentioned that Bob Marley is a Zionist or would have been a Zionist. I mean, within reason, considering what Rastafari advocate for, I mean, Rastafari within reason are Zionists in some respects, it would
In
seem
some
anyway.
respects, yes, facts.
You know what I mean? And you see the Star David, you see the big old advocacy for everything Israel, Jerusalem, and so forth. You understand? So I mean, he might be right, and then for unfortunately for us, you know what I mean, it's not the most convenient fact, and maybe we just need to be reconciled with that reality versus us thinking it's somewhere another way around.
Mm. Yeah, but Ziggy Marley's wife is from that area, you know.
Yeah, man, and that's what I was saying, right?
That's
Based
Yeah,
why
on his,
24, yeah, that's what I'm not
yeah,
saying. That's
yeah.
it's just yeah,
And the thing about Ziggy, right? We read where he provided funding and he did events where he was campaigning to raise funding for the IDF, right? And
yeah.
yeah,
and those are trigger words when we hear it. And again,
man.
go through Devin.
The big baller too, the big baller there too, What
Messi.
do me get to deep and for yeah man, what do me get me dig and I find out something and me I tell you move my brother because some little things that me know because me follow them type of things here. So when certain things that me know and hear what go on and see what for my own eye, it kinda hurt me because we just feel say and I think that them type of people if we involved in those type of activity. But as I say you don't know some of those things is bigger than us, but you have to just know what we are.
Sports,
Yeah,
religion, and politics. Yeah.
Yeah, all right, you get it, right?
yeah.
Mm.
You get it. Yeah, you see
And,
me.
and Devin, again, it's predicated on our worldview, right? And who are we to tell a man
What
how he
to,
should, right? See?
yeah,
And,
man.
and like me do up a reading and find out you have a book called the Israeli Connection, right? And that book speaks to the role that Israel played in destabilizing the Middle East and Africa from
Yeah.
as early as 1954. It talks about running weapons pretty much every country in a sub-Saharan Africa. You know what I mean? When Rhodesia was oppressing black people similar to South Africa, it was Israel that was propping up Rhodesia. Rhodesia was supposed to get nuclear weapons similar to South
South
Africa, so
Africa.
forth.
South Africa.
And,
Yeah.
and when you see these kind of things, when you know the facts about these kind of things, and it really boggles your mind. Even even Iran, right? Where we're told that after 1979, America and Israel cut ties with Iran. That book and other books point to the fact that Israelis were still selling weapons to the Ayatollah all the way into the 1980s. You
Yeah,
know,
man.
and you get them kind of information, and you say, "Yo, what am I for do with it?"
Do with it. Right. Because and
Yeah,
that's the thing where we reach me to, because that's why sometimes I me just keep it to myself. Because me I
yeah,
say
man,
you tell a person when they have the knowledge and understanding of these things, it don't even make no sense to tell them.
yeah, man, yeah,
Because them are on your level, they're not even think about anything more than but I just keep them to myself, brother.
yeah, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, to your point, Devin, right? Reality is far different from the narrative what them tell you,
Narrative.
right? You know what I
Yes.
mean?
Yeah.
And and to your point again, when you find out these truth, knowing it is enough for it to be dangerous sometimes.
For real.
Remember, no joke about that.
Yeah, brother. As a
No
dead person,
joke.
they're telling lies to our children and yada
Hey,
yada yada and a bag of things. And you know, because in America or in the world, right, they talk about this liberal rule-based order where we have institutions in place and it's all about that liberal rule-based order. But you have people who deal with international relations from the realism perspective. And this Bridge in particular, John Mearsheimer deal with offensive realism. And if you read the man book, the tragedy of great power politics, he went all the way to 1792 when Napoleon came to power, and
count
he
for,
was
yeah.
able to factually point to the fact that the world isn't run by a rule-based order. It's about offensive realism. And
Realism, yeah.
seeing and them cut your throat whenever them can. Seeing hopefully the algorithm not affect that. I
Yeah,
just say
yeah,
go, these powerful nations, they only agitate for their best
yeah.
interests.
Interest.
And that's
But,
it.
yeah.
It's never about equality and so forth. And this is why Michael Manley wasn't tolerated in the 70s, you know. You understand?
Yeah.
Michael Manley had to be suppressed. You understand? celebrating say, yeah man, John Mearsham out of University of Chicago, big scholar. Love him book them. Yeah man, for example, me I watch a video the other day and this brother him do some very good video about Jamaica, And he's
Yeah.
talking about the respective prime ministers. So you see, when he wrote about Michael Manley and how, them always say Manley do this and destroy the economy and a bag of things. I'm a engage Virgin and say, yo, I mean, how could you talk about the 70s? And this and a politics me I deal with. So I know one might have a
Different view from where I
yeah and
saw it.
whatever, right? But the facts show that Edward Siaga reached out to the British High Commissioner and the American ambassador in the 70s, and he asked them to cut funding, the funding that was, in his view, propping up the government of Jamaica. He, a Jamaican, reach out to the two countries that funded a lot of what was going on in Jamaica in the 70s. He asked them to cut funding with the hopes of destabilizing the Manley government.
Oh, yeah.
Seeing, and we have the documentations, right? We have the
Facts.
declassified documents.
All
And
right.
yeah, and when the Virgin talk, I say, yo, how are you going to talk about the 70s without mentioning the offensive role that Edward Saga played in the crippling of Jamaica's economy? And the Virgin replied that when he does the subsequent Edward Saga video, he's going to touch on it. And it's when him do the Saga video, he not touch on it. See? I'm going to
Mm.
respond to him again. And you see the title with the man, right? The man, in a title, the man right for Edward Siaga, he referred to Edward Siaga as a man who fixed Jamaica. Seeing? And you see, when it comes to Michael Malley, he put up hero or villain. And when you look at, and listen, we all have our biases, whether good or wrong, for whether we can view it positive or not. But when you're dealing with scholarship work, you've got to be as objective as possible. See?
Yeah.
You saw me a youth, me grew up hearing that Edward Siaga was the best finance minister Jamaica's ever had, and he's the
Me
best
too.
thing since sliced bread and a bag of things, brother. And about 15 years ago, I did some research and I find some New York Times article. Can like for example, you remember in the 70s, them say, yo, you have to marry this with that?
Mm-hmm. That a
The
fool.
propaganda, the propaganda had it that was going on in the 70s, which was true, right? But it's when you read the New York Times article in a 1984, those things were still taking place. You
Same
understand?
here.
Same way you're seeing. And Edward Siaga shut down schools, shut down hospitals, laid off lots of government workers, as much as 6,000 workers, right? Unemployment was 25% as late as 1986. So it's when they have this rosy narrative about Edward Siaga. That
Mm.
wasn't the experience of people in Jamaica at the micro level. And then the Virgin was mentioned that Edward Siaga built these institutions, but he built
Yeah.
institutions to the extent he did without any meaningful regulations. And then that culminated into the problems of after the 90s. You understand? But the problem always is when people are not objective. They just
Yeah.
have an agenda they might try to push, and that's very disturbing to me.
Yeah.
Always hiding the truth. Always hiding the truth.
Yes, brother. Them cherry pick the thing.
Yes. Yes.
Them cherry pick the thing. You
Yeah,
see, in
man.
a Jamaica, and the brother do some good video, cause him do all one about Donald Sangster, and I learn a lot of things about Donald Sangster I never know. And him do one about what the Virgin name Hugh Lawson Shearer too, and I learned a lot of things that I wasn't familiar with because I didn't care about it per se.
Yeah.
But the Michael Manley and the Edward Siaga narrative, there isn't meaningful scholarship out there pertaining to those things. And that's what bothers me the most. And that's why way back when I say, I'm going to have to do some research. And again, conveniently, we have the declassified CIA documents point to the role that Edward Siaga played in destabilizing Jamaica.
All right. Rambo, me know you're there a long time, but Babsy, go ahead.
No, I was listening to Lalabella. Good afternoon, everybody, and
Afternoon.
I, I agree with him, but I do actually feel that Michael Manley did play a part as well. In the beginning for the depreciation of the Jamaican dollar. I feel like in the 70s, because when Jamaica switched from the pound, it was $2.40 US, and it switched to the pound, and then it was switched to the dollar. Sorry, and then it became $1.20 US. That was like in the late '60s, and then Manly had to go to the IMF 3 times in the '70s.
Right. And Queen Babsy, good afternoon.
Yes, my brother.
Yeah. So we have to look at it chronologically, right?
Right.
Manley indeed eventually Manley had to go to the IMF. We have to look
Correct.
at the events that informed him going to the IMF. When the Americans and the British cut their funding per the request of Edward Siaga, he didn't have the necessary funding to keep the economy afloat.
So the destabilization in the '70s is due to, I guess, if you want to say, the backstabbing betrayal of like Thiaga.
Right. Aspects of it. Listen, let me preface by saying that Manley pursuing democratic socialism ought not to be overlooked. And given the climate of the Cold War, we understand the dynamics, the implications of him going against what he deemed to be the imperial power.
Right.
To the extent that you're going to act similar to Guyana, right? Guyana, not only when socialism, they pursued communism itself.
Right.
And
But
that
so
force, go ahead, I'm sorry.
no, so I was saying, so Manley in the '70s, though, a large part of his issue does fall on the fact that he aligned himself with Castro and Maurice Bishop from Grenada.
And here's the interesting thing about Michael, right? When the CIA did the evaluation of Michael, they concluded that they could work with him. And this is why when Edward Siaga solicited them, first they rebuffed him. And this is not my saying these things. We have the documents, and Babsy, I'll share it with you. I'm sure you probably have it already. And Siaga sent Robert Irvine, the senator. He was the surrogate whom he used to get these ends met. And the Americans rebuffed him like, if we were to interfere with Michael Manley, what would stop us from doing the same thing to you in the event that you were to rise to power? And the counterpoint from the Americans were the moderates within the PNP should be able to handle Michael Manley. And Edward Siaga rebuff to that was, no, we need to get rid of Michael. And many people thought it was the Americans who were of the view that Michael was going to go communist. It was Edward Siaga who presented that to them. And when you read the cables, they're saying that we don't have any proof that Michael is going to go communist. And they actually spoke to Michael actually expanding democracy in Jamaica. Because at no point in time has Michael delayed elections, done anything to affect the press or all these machinery of democracy, right? Michael Manley actually expanded democracy. And this is why Michael even went with democratic socialism versus the other way around, because he wanted to emphasize democracy. And what's interesting is that Michael Manley actually did not like communism. He said it. He appreciates Fidel Castro, but he makes a distinction between Fidel Castro being the head of a sovereign nation, wherein he's of the view that he ought to be able to charter his own path. Edward Siaga, on the other hand, didn't. You know what he said about communism on Monty Perkins' show? Him not have no problem with communism per se, as long as it doesn't apply to Jamaica. So one categorically opposed communism, and the other one had a conditional concern when it comes to communism. So Mr. Siaga demonized Michael Manley in the 1970s. And Malcolm X have a quote, right, a statement where he said that if you stab me in the back 9 inch deep and you pull it out 6 inches, don't expect me to thank you for that. And I think that's what they're doing with Edward Siaga in the 1980s, to the extent that he started getting funding from America, because in the 80s, per capita, Jamaica got more funding from America than any other country in the world.
Okay, so question: what was Manley's reasoning though for the strong alignment to Castro to the point where Cuba came into Jamaica and started building schools and institutions? Like, what was the reason for that close alignment in the '70s?
Manley was part of the Non-Aligned movement, as you know. inclusive of Nehru from India and so forth, Fidel Castro and those individuals. They're looking at it from a geopolitical perspective under the auspices of the Cold War. And remember, a component of that is that Cuba was fighting against the expansion of apartheid into Angola and these places. So, from an ideological perspective, Manley was in line with that. And clearly, we see that the African nations benefited from the role that Cuba played in repelling the expansion of apartheid. This is why when Nelson Mandela started traveling, he made sure to go to Cuba and Jamaica and and he went to Castro's funeral specifically to thank him. What Cuba did in Africa facilitated keeping apartheid at bay. And I think from our
Yeah, you're breaking.
Most of us would.
But
What's going on here?
that's good now. I can hear.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah,
Yeah.
man, go ahead, man.
Hello.
Yeah, man,
Yeah,
go ahead.
yeah,
Yeah,
you can.
Hello.
Him not
Yeah.
hearing, like
Oh,
I
you're
not
not
hearing.
hearing. Yeah.
Hello. Yeah.
All
Sorry.
right, we can hear you.
Yeah. An alarm went off.
Okay.
I'm not even hearing you guys though.
You not hear us?
Not hearing?
An alarm went off. I'm not even hearing you guys though.
Oh, all right.
No, yeah.
Jump off and come back.
Jump off and come in back.
No, my God, disconnect and forward back on.
Yeah.
Yeah, do
All
that.
right. Jump off and come back.
Like the knowledge, because you have whole heap of knowledge about
Yeah,
them
man.
things. We love that. Yeah.
Yeah, man, for real, man. I like
Yeah,
that.
whole heap
Isn't
of
it?
knowledge about them things, man.
Golden Eye, what
Okay,
happened?
go.
Control the chatting of Golden Eye. Yeah, move, sir.
Devin, I had a surprise for you, but you disappeared for a while, so I wasn't able to make it happen.
Yeah?
Yeah, I had a surprise for you.
Jesus, please.
George Nooks was supposed to come over here and sing some gospel song for all of the losses you had and thing. I said,
Yeah.
let me bring him over and let him bless you up a little bit, but you disappeared for so long.
Why
I
me
didn't
I
know.
tell him I go treat Bobby, me I go treat rough,
Yeah, so I
man.
said I'm gonna just come make him sing a little 1-2 thing for you and
Hey,
cheer
watch
you
it.
up a bit.
I get a drama. You know, say the juice man where them kill at Jamaica over there. The soup man. You hear that from the news?
Mm-hmm.
I'm a cousin that. And him grew up together.
Oh, God. Somebody about you with that. Somebody out
Yo,
for your
I mean, I
family.
tell you, it's funny. It's funny because when I say when me I check out, it's like I got 7 dead. Like me don't understand like 7 dead, and it's not like it's far people from his people that close to me.
All right. When I bring
Yeah,
that, David.
let me, yeah. So
For real.
Lalabella,
Yeah.
yeah, the 70s and Castro and Maurice Bishop and Michael Manley. Yeah.
Yeah.
and Queen Babsy, what I would prefer is to cite my sources, share these kind of things where, like, if I'm going to engage with you, that you can look at it, share yours also, so that we can respond to what we've read and researched beyond my engaging wherein you might be blind to where I'm getting some of my information from.
Right.
Because, you know what I mean? Because I wanted to make it more efficacious wherein you're responding. I know exactly what you're engaging and responding from, and likewise. So maybe we could or should retool at a more opportune time where we get to actually better discuss the data. And what I mean, I'll cite my sources in advance, and then we could engage meaningfully. But at any rate, though, Castro, yeah, and history has, Fidel Castro always talk about history will absolve him, right? After the July 26th movement. And he's spot on. Relative to Africa, history has absolved him. They were on the right side of history as it relates to repelling the expansion of apartheid. And for that, I greatly appreciate him. But when it comes to politics or governing countries, it's so complicated, right? Because one could argue that Fidel has done way more outside of Cuba than he's done in Cuba. And at the same time, what Cuba represents has done so much for the Caribbean and elsewhere in the world. You know what I mean? It's almost like they've recharted the essence of what it means to be a doctor and so forth. The aim is not to become rich. You know what I mean? The aim is, so many things we could talk about. But But I don't want to engage it blindly, though, if that makes sense.
Understood. The only reason I ask is because from the research that I've done and just having questions about, basically the economic crisis in Jamaica, it's always been from the economist point of view. Let's just
Right.
reiterate that. So this is it's a non-political view. It's more of an economist point of view that the financial crisis that Jamaica found itself in was due to the mismanagement by Michael Manley and his government in the early 70s, resulting in having to go to the IMF. That's the information, the way that it was presented to me from an economist.
Hey, I'm glad you said that, because that's where the distinction is, right? If
Right.
if 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 I am a physicist and you are a mathematician and we're looking at a problem, we're gonna use a lens. We're gonna use the respective lens that define our profession, right? You are gonna look at it from so that's pretty much exactly what it is. The historian will assess the history differently from the economist. And I
Correct.
think but at the end of the day, right? People, like for example, when it comes to economics, the macro and the micro level, at the micro level, people are still suffering, and then an economist may say, "Well, GDP grew, this change is improved, and yada yada yada." But is it trickling down? And to the extent that it hasn't, how long does it take? So,
Same
so
thing I
that's
go on
so
in Jamaica right now.
yeah, man. So it's important what you're saying here, Miss Babs. The distinction is which lens are we using to view the past, and that's where it really matters. So that's it in a nutshell.
But Cuba never used to take in anything from Jamaica. Cuba always give Michael Manley more strength to build the country and to make the people and build the country, because say we have enough resource that we can build with one.
Right. And guess what? As much as I am a proponent of Michael Manley, I
Mm-hmm.
think his rhetoric did him in. A lot of what he was saying, America would have overlooked it, except for his rhetoric in some regard. And the way in which he engaged with what the Belgian name? Kissinger,
Oh, Kissinger,
he probably could have achieved the
Henry.
same objective. He probably could have tactically achieved the same objective differently. But I get where he's coming from, and he made the adjustments in this in the 90s when he came back. What's interesting is that the system that Michael Manley had in mind for Jamaica is what we see in the Scandinavian countries. That's what we see in Germany. There are so many countries that use the same model, but they're not attacked in the same regard. You understand that?
Yeah,
That's the
man.
interesting thing about it.
Nah,
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
yeah, man. Hey, big up everybody who there.
Pick up.
Um, what if I said to you now that a lot of these quote unquote ideals that Michael Manley brought forward that people praise him for was borrowed from one Marcus Garvey?
So here's what I'll say, because I know that Michael studied Fabian socialism at the London School of Economics.
Mhm.
I'm not saying that Garvey didn't subscribe to those ideals himself, but I'm mindful that based on the tutelage of Michael, his education really came from LSE.
Mhm.
Um, but again, you have a thing called parallel intellectualism, right? Where two individuals who don't have any relationship with each other can arrive at the same conclusion. And that's what we have when it comes to calculus, right? Isaac Newton
Mhm.
and what an expression name Lep is, I'm not sure why I'm forgetting his name. Two different people formulated calculus separate from each other, and that's what they call parallel intellectualism. So it's quite plausible that Garvey could have had these notions independent of formal education, but I can't necessarily say that Michael read much of Garvey, wherein Garvey would have informed him in that regard. So I'm not disputing it. I'm just speaking to what I know clearly, that he went to LSE and this is what he studied.
Well, me I go have one live on one of them holiday, yeah. See?
Okay.
We go talk about a whole heap of things. Because I deal in a broad daylight the same way too. And it's
Say that
about
again. Say that again.
so me I go do it live now basically broad daylight too. It's
Okay.
basically you know about the Galifesto where Marcus Garvey they present to the KSAC at the time that
Right.
when they are proposing film PPP.
Yes.
All right, so I go look on that and see how much of it was actually like done in Jamaica, if at all.
Okay. Yeah.
You know?
So yeah. So the next
And
version.
a lot I too basically is like it draw parallels to a lot of the things where Michael Manley get praised for in doing in Jamaica. A lot of it.
Okay. So okay. I get where you're coming from, definitely, and I'm looking forward to that. No doubt about it. Right. Yeah. Wiz, I was gonna mention Lebanese. I don't know why I was drawing blank. Yeah, Lebanese. I was about to mention just now. Yeah. So it's definitely Lebanese. So they quote unquote co-discovered or discovered calculus independent of each other and so forth. So that's parallel intellectualism in a nutshell. You know, I'm glad that you're gonna talk about Marcus Garvey.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and my view on Marcus Garvey isn't so popular. I make a distinction when it comes to the Jamaican version of Marcus Garvey and what he mean for Jamaica versus what he truly meant for the wider world, especially in America where he went. And when it comes to Pan-Africanism, you know, I mean, I don't deal with the hagiography of Marcus Garvey. I'm going to engage with you, and I'm sure I'm going to agree with a lot of what you're going to share. But I don't think Marcus Garvey was critiqued enough.
Ooh.
You understand?
I mean, by his peers or by?
Well, by good question. His peers did critique him, and for that, Marcus Garvey stated that all educated Black people are traitors to the race. Marcus Garvey actually argued that if you are educated and you're Black, you're a traitor to the race. He didn't mince his words when he said that.
Yeah, but hold on, maybe it would apply to what was happening in that time.
And when you examine it,
look on it, now. Him said that, and then at the same breath, him a champion education at the same time.
But then one has to argue, what is education to Garvey? Is it conditioning or is it meaningful education where one functions critically, right? If you look at Garvey, when he had to go back and forth with W. Du Bois and others at that time, when Garvey went to America, Garvey went there as that individual who knew everything, wherein there wasn't a need for him to consult with anyone. Garvey wasn't that kind of person who engaged and solicit ideas from others. Garvey, in many respects, was El Duce. He dictated terms. And when you read the history of Garvey in America, you know, he aligned himself with people who were anti-Black, who made life difficult for Black people in America. Because Garvey's vision, Marcus Mosiah Garvey, yeah, met with the Ku Klux Klan, met with a lot of prominent anti-Black folks here in Virginia, got funding from them, and many of things. And Garvey's vision was he didn't want America to be so tolerant to Black people that Black people don't want to stay here. So
I just had to do this Alabella, not to cross you, but boy, if it is Marcus, then you must fight it us.
And you know, again, the Marcus Garvey for Jamaica is different from Marcus Garvey that was in America. And Black Americans are justified in arguing that, yo, we shed blood here, so we were here for eons. This is justifiably our homeland too.
But guess what? But guess what? We can understand if it got as well as we can understand why we will take all that responsibility. Remember, say Marcus Garvey is a man.
Who's that? Gavin. All right, go ahead. Sorry, Davin, yeah.
Remember, say Marcus Garvey is a man where a champion Pan-Africanism and Pan-Africanism had a return to the homeland. You know, see, America has no homeland for we. So that might very well be the premises where man operate and say, yo, we're not supposed to look for stay here, so we're supposed to look for repatriate and look for go build up over there so our ancestors them forward from.
Let me ask you a question, right? What if someone who's not Jamaican came to Jamaica and is of the view that they know better than we do for our own path? And that person chooses not to engage to sell his or her argument. They come with the objective to dictate terms to you in your own country. How tolerant would you be of that?
It depends.
Well, again, you know, they're not.
It depends, you know, because guess what? It's not like a white person that come tell with this. You know? This is a black person that come set this to we.
This is why.
Really and truly to you know now. Remember, so really and truly to you know now. I bring with Anya, you know. Yes, we might not be the person but then bring Anya, but our ancestors and bring Anya, you know, from whence we're forward from. You know.
Well, we have to examine that phrase, them bring with Anya, because we have to speak to agency as it relates to those who facilitated the Europeans bringing us to the Americas. But you see, Nyabingi, at one point their slogan was "Death to all oppressors," right? But in time they came to realize that the oppressors of black people aren't only white; there are also black people who oppress black people. So they updated their slogan to "Death to all black and white oppressors." So we can't have this binary of black and white thinking one is good and one is bad. Not to say that you're saying that, but we have to be mindful of that, right?
Me think when it did forward to black against black, they more to do with class still.
Well, regardless, right? Look at South Africa, right? You see these former ANC people, they have that yoke around black people in South Africa now, you know. They've gotten rich. And you have this philosopher called Hannah Arendt, and he speaks about the social pariah and the parvenu, and one agitates for the people when he or she secures certain ascension in society, while the other one only focuses on upward mobility for self. And that's what most black people who've secured power have done. They secure for self at the expense of their peoples. You see what you said about Marcus Garvey wanting for us to go to Africa? That sounds good. Well, if you understand from whence he got that idea from, you understand? And to the extent that that idea is his or not, is it sound? And you have to examine the Black Star Line that Marcus Garvey purchased, right? These ships were in poor condition. And the people whom he employed to operate these ships, you have to question their competency. And the biggest issue, as related back to Africa for Marcus Garvey, you have to ask, did Marcus Garvey have any relationship with any of the ports of entries in Africa controlled by the French, the German, and the English metropoles? Marcus Garvey had no idea relative to where he would take us. And America threatened the one country, Liberia, to ensure that they deem Garvey persona non grata. So for whatever it's worth, to the extent that we decided to go on these ships to go to Africa, I don't know where it would have gone. You understand?
Okay.
And we have to question these things. And you can think about World War II era, where when these European Jews were leaving the varying Europe ports of entries trying to escape Nazism, they returned back. When they went to Palestine, they returned back, went to other ports of entries. That could have been our fate at that time when Garvey was doing whatever he was doing. So to the extent that Garvey had passion and ideals, we've got to ask, how practical were these things? And then when you read about W.E. Du Bois, seeing what he wanted under the same auspice of Pan-Africanism, you can't help but walk away but thinking that it's no different than what Queen Babsy and others would want for black people under the auspice of CARICOM or the former West Indies Federation and so forth. You know what I mean? It's like the systems that W.E. Du Bois envisioned, it surely seems as if we had gone that route, that we would have meaningfully be able to build up systems that benefited us, wherein someone was being romantic in their dream, but far from reality as far as practical execution. But then again, the garbage for Jamaica is different from the garbage for America. And I agree with John Henry Clark that Pan-Africanism, the seat of Pan-Africanism, really reside in Trinidad. The intellectual.
Be careful. Be careful. Don't do that.
Hey,
Speak your
hey,
mind. Speak it. Speak
it
it.
is
Don't do
what it
that.
is.
You know,
Jamaica.
so Marcus
Dr.
Garvey,
Mix. Dr.
you know,
Mix.
so Marcus Garvey is a felony in America, right?
Yeah, and they've been looking to clear that up, and to no avail for the most part, and it probably will never happen. But to the extent that they deem him a felon, should we necessarily deem him a felon? And
It was a big thing when Obama was in power for clear him up.
yes, he could have,
Yeah, I
could
never
have,
do.
yeah.
But you see, it's so funny that the same thing that they charge him for is the same thing that we doing now in the same business, because you can design a house and sell the house before you even break the dirt. And are the same thing every contractor do now. Are the same thing all millionaire do. Is Marcus Garvey thing them I use and I do all of this thing now. I just draw them as an engineer or whatever, do what them supposed to do now. And by the time you queen, them have 100 house in our complex right there. So, and them sell out before the house, and so them take the people their money to build the place. And that them they lock up Marcus Garvey fire them.
See, the thing is, part of the issue with Marcus Garvey, as I mentioned about these ships, right? The efficacy of these ships was in question. Was in question. And from a fiduciary perspective, right? If you tell me that you're going to sell me something, a particular amount of widgets that have a certain value,
Well, yeah.
and then upon examination, you find that, what I mean, you can't justify that. And then what happened is that when you start communicating to the mail and so forth, that informs mail fraud and so forth. Now, Garvey was a threat in America politically. And this is
Yeah.
why when Garvey was incarcerated, right, he was able to get his sentence commuted because he threatened to have black people support one party versus another. He did have that leverage at that time.
Right.
You understand? So, issue with
What I think still, he didn't want black people to build America. He didn't want black people to go to Africa, because he always has said that.
We.
Even from Jamaica, he want black people to gather. He want black people to go to Africa. Even Bob Marley come sing about it, the same thing that he was portraying for the whole time. So that's why him did I say him never want black people to feel like say this is them home. This is not our home. Our home is in Africa. That's why him always was saying. Really still, that's why me not burning upon them thing that way him say, because I ain't gonna fucking lie. This is not our home, but we live here, yes.
but that's the thing, right? That's the thing. And there's this very interesting book that I'm reading currently. And the title of the book is called Where We Live Is Our Home.
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
it pertains to Eastern European Jews who were part of the Jewish Bund. And these are the people who push the notion of solidarity and collective security and all these kind of things. And they were of the view that, especially for them, where they didn't have a homeland at the time, from their perspective, they figured that they all had to coexist. And these are the people who inform what we would now refer to as civil rights. And I've come to realize that these are the European Jews who came to America and largely funded the civil rights movement. Them distinct from the Zionist type Jewish folks are the ones who came
But
here and to the tune of 2/3 provide funding for the civil rights movement.
I will go look
So,
at it. We believe in Marcus Garvey for true, where he say, this is not our home for true, because listen, we come here and anything will happen, where they send us back? To our home. So they're even telling us that this is not our home. We just are opportunists. We just get our privilege for coming here. We just are privilege. That's it.
Now, Davin, I wouldn't call we forward in here a privilege still, But anyway, This is the thing I don't know. You see,
You know, so that's what they tell us up here, though, Rambo. You know, that's what them tell you, though, for we to come to this country, even the president are that loud and clear. So for you to come here in America here, is a privilege to come here.
Yeah, but Mono
They say
expect
una
nothing
agree
else
that.
from them, man.
All right, go ahead, Rambo.
Well, we don't know that. Yeah, you understand what I mean.
Yes, that's what we don't expect nothing else from them, man.
Yeah,
Man.
from them, man. Go ahead.
Yo,
Yeah.
David,
Yeah.
David, did you know that Bodine, who was, I think, either the prince or the king at the time of Belgium, gave a resounding speech to the Congolese, saying they should be grateful for Leopold II and all the works that he did in the Congos, i.e., maiming them, R-wording them, working them to death, and so on and so forth, to the enrichment of the Belgian Empire. Did you know that? So why should we expect them to say anything different? We don't expect them, and this is why. This is why Marcus Garvey did stay or him stay. Them believe in a racial purity and not intermixing with race. Why we fear force ourselves to go intermix with them? No, we're supposed to world war one and go back to Africa and go build up Africa.
Yes.
And Africa in a something like a United States of Africa.
Yes.
Rambo, I don't necessarily disagree with you. I don't necessarily disagree with you, But who are we to decide for the people of North America, the black people in America?
So
remember, them don't even have no knowledge of anything to say. We have people educate them, you know.
Sorry, it's not like they're devoid of knowledge, you know. What they're saying is, and if you look at the ADOS and the FBA people, they are of the view that we've died here, we've shed blood here, we've sweat here for so long. We now are uniquely disparate from Africans in that we are a unique ethnic group. And if you deal with it from an anthropological perspective, they are factual. So they're saying is that, yo, now got their work house for 400 years and then just leave everything to them over here, so. So I think they have agency of their own to speak for themselves. I don't think we can come to America as Marcus Garvey and decide to speak for them.
Well,
go ahead, sorry.
Ask my African cousin, my American cousin, say, because he's born here. And that's my mother's sister, niece, Pitney. I mean, I talk to him, I said to him, say, what they call you black American, African American? Did you born in Africa or are you born in America? Which part? Where are you born? Because every time you're talking you're nigger and you're black American niggers, African niggers, and say this here, we're all African, man. What the fuck are you talking about? We just bring on slave ship and scatter all fucking over. I say you don't even know history. You don't know no history, you don't know. Nothing you don't know about. On yourself. We have opportunity where we get more knowledge, learn many things about our history, where we're coming from, where we're heading to, every little thing. What do you know? They don't know nothing about in the country. They just bring here and just they work, who died, and who live. It's just what's going on, brother. There's nothing here for the American them that's born here. And we that's come here teach them a lot of things.
Us from the Caribbean who come to the America. Sorry, us who come to America from the Caribbean.
Yeah.
Our psychological composition is so much different because we've known freedom in a way that they haven't.
Right.
And that's the distinction. My concern is, like, for example, they've gone from this black Americans view themselves as being black, and us from the Caribbean are Jamaicans, Barbadians, Trinidadians, and Guyanese, and so forth. They don't view us as being black. The word black is, they're of the view that it's them that defines their ethnic group.
And black Americans do not really like African like that neither, because they do not claim that they are African,
So I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't brush it that way. Just like a lot of Jamaicans, right? Have the same view of Africans, right? This is why, a lot of times when we are having these like, for example, you go a football field, right?
Yeah.
And we'll see them say, yo, here, shot boy, or African boy. They never say that about the person from Barbados or Trinidad. Most of us loathe our blackness, our African capacity. You understand?
Yeah.
Most of us loathe that. And this and the esteemed people from Haiti have a closer proximity to what we would call African, and for that reason they're punished here in the Western world. Not only by the Europeans, but also by us black
By
people.
us black people, yes, I agree with
You
that for
understand?
sure. Yeah, yeah,
You,
that's true.
trust me, you
But
don't have any.
I'm not to cross you,
Yeah.
but I'm of the belief though that when the denial of being African, I think they're denying it culturally, not racially. When they look at black, like when a Black American says they're not African, I think they're talking about like cultural identity, not racial identity.
Yeah, I was on TikTok yesterday listening in some American with them up on TikTok showing attack, and they was talking about African. They don't like them. They talking everything. They even talking about us, Jamaican, that's coming here and housing. They're talking about housing and work and all of these things. And where I grew up and where I know in my community, I know for a fact that the American them, the black American them, they do not like Jamaican. They talk to you, but as something go off, you will get to find out. You hear the real part of it. At the high school, there used to be fight like every day. Even one of my friend daughter, a American girl, stab up and kill and stab up another friend and get a 3.5 fucking years and come out back already. They do not like American and they don't hide it. Even the mayor in my district do not like Jamaican. I can tell you that in front of her with a straight face. Do not like Jamaican because for her we are too progressive. And if I tell you something, you'd wonder like what the freak because our community is not building up because more Jamaican is in our community. And Jamaican like to fix up them yard. And if you go outside our community, New Rochelle, Yonkers, bro, everywhere is developing up. Everywhere. But our place is not developed. And if you go around and look, is everywhere that things is going on is where the Yankee them is. And the bombs.
So I want to touch on that, but Babsy, again, spot on. When you examine it from a functional perspective or look at the meat of what they're saying, you're so correct. You know what I mean? Culturally, they're different. That's really what they're saying. Ultimately, when you listen to them, I categorically agree with you.
Yeah, so I don't
Uh,
think they're denying that we're the same race. I think they're denying
right,
that we're the same culture, right?
right.
So they foundational Black Americans, right? That's how they see their culture. Like that's who they are culturally. It's kind of
Right.
similar to like Barbados. You cannot call a white person in Barbados white. They will lose it on you. A white Bajan is a Bajan. Like if you ever refer to their race, that's offensive to them because
Yeah.
they identify as Bajan. So, like, they don't identify themselves by their race; they identify themselves by their nationality and their culture.
So,
So,
r-
yeah,
so what
No,
do you
it's just
say
no.
when
You and sorry, you and Devin are just saying some things that's just like, yeah, I mean, it's just,
so all right,
boy,
what Babs,
I'm
what
getting
would you
giddy.
say with like my kids them now? My baby mom is Jamaican, me is Jamaican, but my kids them is American. What would you say about the straight American them that cursing out my kids them now and tell them about them Jamaican and they are not real American? What would you say about that? So
um,
what do you really think? Is that
I
it?
I think a large part of the problem with the blacks, I guess you would say in America, having issues with immigration, it's coming from ignorance predominantly. So for them to be attacking, let's say, your children that are born in America, they're
Right.
basically trying to say, okay, we're 8, 9 generation Black Americans. So that's why they've identified this term, Lalabella Hasano, the foundational Black American, right? The FBA.
Yeah.
So that's
Yes.
how they
Right.
identify themselves. They're saying, look, we have been in America as Black people. We were here from like the beginning of slavery. So we're 8, 9, 10 generations Black in here. So we're not the same as you, right? Like you eat escovitch and we don't do that, right? Like we do something different. So
Different, different, yeah.
that's what they're reinforcing. They're reinforcing, they're trying to say culturally, we are not the same. And we don't like y'all culture as Black Americans. We like our culture better than your culture.
Yes. Allow me to respond to what you said earlier, Babs, and I want to respond to what Devin said earlier. Like I'm saying, I really love what I said. Um, and I could speak to the fact that my children, right, part Ethiopian, part Jamaican, and
Oh,
here in America they're viewed differently, right? And even to Black Americans or even other people from the continent of Africa, when my children eventually say I'm whatever, they say, yo, I know, I look at you, I can tell, right? The mannerism, just everything is different. Even though my children were born and raised here in America, they function differently because of their unique experience. And Devin, I'm gonna touch on your thing eventually. By the
yeah.
way, when you talk about FBA or ADOS, right? Um, like FBA are of the view when you go to the website that they're an amalgamation of the indigenous peoples who were here before the Europeans and some admixture of Africans who came here. And even both they and FBA and ADOS are of the view that they have more DNA with Europeans and indigenous people than they do with African people. And to your point, the generations upon which they've been here is what they use to distinguish themselves from us Jamaican people. Now, Devin,
Yeah.
it's not a one-way street wherein American blacks hate Caribbean blacks, you know. Most of us come to America thinking Black Americans are lazy and we have these negative views of them.
True,
We come
true,
here
true,
we
true,
so
true,
so, so
true, true.
it's not even a one-way street. So you know what I mean?
True.
When they talk about the African booty scratcher, whatever the disparaging ways in which they would frame us, a lot of that had to do with their psychological composition, having them coming away from the civil rights movement. When they saw us Caribbean people coming here and folks from Africa, it reminded them of whence they came. And there's just it's very complicated. You
But
understand?
but but
And
but you know, when we did younger, when people and Jamaican, not like no Jamaican come up here frequently no more now. You know, remember and who going to school and them thing, them curse and tell you come from banana boat to come here.
yeah, man, and this what I love about the East Africans, right? They refer to themselves as fab, fresh off the boat. They've embraced that disparaging statement. You know what I mean? They're perfectly. If you got Somalian, Eritrean, people from Djibouti or Ethiopia, they refer to themselves as fresh off the boat. They're perfectly okay with it. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
and as I've mentioned before, in Atlanta, I talked to a Black American. He was like, "Yo, is Jamaica in Africa? And you guys wear shoes?" And it was probably, there's a component of ignorance,
Yeah.
and
I wonder what was that.
No,
But
yeah,
honestly, Black Americans, a lot of them, like I live in Toronto. I'm about an hour and a half drive maximum from Buffalo, New York, right?
right.
And you would be surprised when you go to Buffalo. These people are asking if we live in igloos and asking if we like cut 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 holes in the ice for fishing and stuff like that. Like they genuinely think that like we're an hour away and they think that we live in igloos. They don't even know that we have houses and they genuinely think that it's winter all year. And so it's like you have to understand the mindset of the people that's
Yes.
speaking. Like if
Oh
you
yeah,
think
yeah, that's true.
Yes.
That's true.
I see it
Yes.
in
That's
Nile.
true.
Nile.
yeah,
You have
Yeah.
to overstand to that's the same thing, and that's why Marcus Garvey did I get him pushed back in at them time. Remember, so them condition the people them to think a certain way about African and Africans and how them are savages and how them are live back a while in Africa there, Remember, so them precondition the people in mind for not even think of the idea of going back there because back there is a hellhole. So the people them are
Yep.
gonna naturally because of that have them are gonna have some doubts in where this money are. So where this money are come tell me because I mean America is not like a bed of roses, but if you left yourself and go God worse, that don't make no sense, and that wouldn't make sense, right? In a them the time there. Fast
You know
forward
what's
there,
it?
with
All
all
right.
of
No,
what
no,
we
go ahead.
would we really say, oh boy, for blame Marcus Garvey for when did I try if enlighten the people them to us?
So you know what? I want to talk about eventually again Sylvester Williams, CLA James, George Podmore, and these are esteemed giants from that wonderful country of Trinidad. But and I'll say this to you that in Marcus Garvey's day, and I'm glad that you're saying this because in Marcus Garvey's day, that wasn't the view that Black Americans have of Africa. I was curious about that. I had to look at the literature of that age. They didn't view Africa in this regard. Africa was framed this way subsequently after Garvey age. You understand? And when I discovered that, I found it quite interesting. But again, at some
So
point,
them never view Africa as no as me I describe like no back our people them a suffer and a starve and them never view Africa like that back in them time.
Black Americans did not view Africa that way in Garvey's time.
You don't say. That's interesting.
But what about when we used to see all the advertisement which show the African kids with bone
Fly.
That's a false forward, man, Jerome. What about a 2030s time there? That's a false forward. That's before color TV, my God. That's before TV.
So
man,
yeah, based on what you were saying earlier, because I understand what I want to say about the Americans, but what about us? We need to do better amongst ourselves. Because me grew up the year, you're black and ugly now. You know, it's just like we used to despise our own color. I mean,
Yes,
when you're black, you don't even couldn't get no job in a bank to work as a teller.
Jerome.
Go ahead.
Hold on, Jerome.
Me have that in my own family, Jerome. Me have that in my own family because my great grandmother, me say she are English. My grandmother, them are English. My uncle, my auntie, them are English. Them red no blood clean. My mother does come to Jamaica. My mother come to Jamaica. Then go get my mother, get my next uncle, my next sister. 3 pitney alone at Jamaica. Left them go back to England. My other local parents, them, what you think say? Them not take my other auntie and my uncle. Them take my mother because my mother the red one. That's something I go on in Jamaica long time.
All right. Gerald, sorry, go ahead.
No, I want to touch on something that Devin touched on earlier, right? Because it's important to touch on it. What he mentioned about what immigrants do in New York, similar to what Babs will talk about immigrants doing in Canada, right? There's this book called The Color of Law. It's a very good book for read, see? And you see, up to the 70s and even early 80s, Black Americans were precluded from actually moving to the suburbs. So you see, the black people who moved to the suburbs in America first were Caribbean people, Haitian people from Trinidad, Jamaica, and so forth, and they went to hell when they moved to the suburbs. So what happened is that when they were doing the redlining and so forth, black people, the crab in a barrel notion was a real thing because they couldn't move from what eventually became black communities. And the way they did zoning in these so-called black communities, it made it so that the virgin where have the body shop can set up a body shop. The virgin where, you know what I mean, the mechanic has some shop, the liquor store, the fast food and so forth. And this is why the rate of asthma is so much higher in black communities because of how they've done things historically. So the truth is you're correct in that us Caribbean and African blacks, we've achieved significantly more in America than black Americans. But it's not necessarily always because of their fault. There were de jure, meaning government policies that precluded black people from moving from the immediate communities.
Yeah, man, it's a thing when I study constantly and I go through it with my family them too. And then we're there because I'm not afraid to ask my uncle them question and everything. Because I listen when my uncle, my name Yankee friend, them a chat. Because I'm a Yankee, you know, so there's nothing for me me just listen to them. I mean, I say, boy, I hear them Yankee and them not easy. Sometimes I have to catch himself and say, like, oh shit, my nephew is right here. I'm talking this fucking shit, man. I need to shut the fuck up. And then you know.
1 second. Jerome, you did finish. You did make a point. You did finish?
Yes. Sorry, Jerome.
Jerome.
Yeah. What you saying now?
No, go ahead. You was talking. You was making a point.
No, I'm saying that sometimes I've watched a lot of different culture and certain people, and they do whatever it takes to defend each other. And mostly we carry a moniker where said we are Jamaicans are crab in a barrel. So sometimes we have to uplift each other, willing to help and treat each other equal. And I'm saying that we teach each other, even with parents sometimes. Make we feel like you're outclassed, say you're black and you're ugly or, you know, anything black no good and these things. And that's why we have a culture where we sometimes rub things on our skin and bleach because we were suppressed to believe that nothing good is in black. So that's why, and even now, you'll have these women that tell you, look on the guys and with the bleach and say, boy, you look good in here, so you look pretty. And even now, if you're not brown skin, you won't even get a work in a bar sometime. And bank and so on. So I think I'm not just black. Some of these Americans, they see how we treat each other, so they decide that they can do it too. So we have to just work on loving each other and make we realize that we can love our own skin. So I just that my belief.
Yeah, and I agree with you, right? But I want to add though that the way we view ourselves is the same way. The same dynamic that you speak about as it relates to us in Jamaica
Yeah,
exists in other communities too. And I want to say this, and I want to be careful because it's not me. What's that word that them have in them contemporary lexicon now? Troll. I'm not
uh,
trolling,
yeah,
right? This is why I have problem with anyone who promote bleaching, right? I make
Lord of
bleaching come across as
mercy.
being and have bleaching come across as being innocuous. You understand? But I
Mm.
but me not gonna believe about that. I totally agree with you, Jerome. More of response to what Dr. Mix say, sir. She's saying that I presume she's mean Garvey. He didn't want us to be educated with white knowledge. He was racist against white people, not black people. He was very much pro-black. You see, as it relates to epistemology, knowledge, that which is, there isn't a knowledge as white nor black. Knowledge to be tested is proven to be factual or not, and that's just it in a nutshell. When it comes
Agreed.
to when it comes to logic, it's either valid and then hopefully sound,
Yep.
or it's the opposite.
Opposite, yeah.
The truth
Education is
is,
not. Education
yeah,
is about.
Not
It's
is
not a
no,
crap
there's no
about like
limit. No limit, but
education is not necessarily about the knowledge. Education is about the actual process of educating so that,
right,
one, you stick to something, you go to university, you push through those 4 years because it's going to be hard, and you fight your way through because they're teaching you like life is hard and you still have to stick to something and keep pushing. So when you are educated, it's not that you're smart or smarter than everyone else, is that you learn how to do analysis and be analytical towards information that you get. You understand comprehension, et cetera, et cetera. So education is important, not because of a knowledge standpoint, but because of the functionality behind it standpoint.
right, and the thing, I totally agree, right?
that's
And
it.
and Dr. Mix, the problem with the argument that you're striking here, and I get where you're coming from. We can be programmed a certain kind of way, right? But critical thinking is just what it is. Critical thinking, logic is abstract. You can apply this abstract reference to anything, and again, only make conclusions, right? And here's the problem with Marcus Garvey when you frame him this way. Marcus Garvey literally aligned himself with racist white people who wrote racist books, and Garvey even had the UNIA sell those racist books out of the varying UNIA chapters because Garvey comments aligning himself with them, and he subscribed to their ideology. He just had a different hue than they did. Garvey literally had black people selling books that spoke disparagingly about black people.
Yeah. All right. Jamaica vibes. Pick up
The
yourself.
question
Yeah.
is, the question is though, why him do it? But I assume
Ah,
that him being him have reasoning behind it, but why him do it?
right. So your question is, my,
Joey Ledgers. Truth is
does
dangerous.
does the end justify the means?
Yes, exactly.
If you're a black American,
Yes.
you're going to say no, and if you're Jamaican, you probably will say yes. And in many
Mhm.
respects, again, it's because of the hagiography where Garvey is glorified and praised, not examined properly. Again, if we were to really look at the efficacy of what Garvey was putting forward, was there much utility in it? Where were we gonna go? That's the dilemma for Garvey. He didn't have a meaningful plan.
Mhm.
Understand? And if I'm Black American, just like if me got Trinidad or if me got Barbados, who am I to tell these people that them for do this and them for do that without even trying to engage with them? Imagine me trying to tell Babs they offer run our own house. I'm not trying to engage with Babs, say, yo, Babs, let me prove to you why this is right. I'm gonna tell Babs to say, yo, listen to me. I mean, that approach is never good, right, Babsy?
Correct. And you know we run things don't run we, so it ain't gonna work like that, you know
Uh,
what
unless it's a Jamaican, you see me? Anyway, Jamaica vibes, go ahead.
Bless
Jamaica
up, bless
vibes,
up,
go
bless
ahead.
up.
Bless up,
You
bless
can
up.
hear me? When I
Yeah,
hear
man,
me?
we good. Yeah, we are here,
All
yeah.
right, bless up everybody on the panel. You know me, I say everybody in the chat. All right, we have to go a little further in the discussion, right? Because
Please,
today I listen
please,
to the
please.
language. I mean, I hear a whole heap of things, right? All right, how much I want to on the panel is Jamaican?
Does it really matter?
No, that's fine. Let's see
Yes.
where it's going. We don't know what the thought experiment. We don't know where it's going. I'm Jamaican.
Me
Not
too.
Why?
Jamaican, you know.
6 out of
Why?
7.
Yeah, 6 out
Why?
of 7.
Why are you a Jamaican?
What do you mean why me a Jamaican? Now them me born.
That's the question. I
Uh,
ask you a question. Why are you a
Okay.
Jamaican?
That there's some
no,
born. That there's some
no,
We're
parents
born there.
have me.
Go to. Make him go to. More I see where this a lead to.
Yeah, that's where I'm
All right.
born.
Yeah.
Jamaica born.
Okay. So you were born in an island called Jamaica, so you accept the term that you are Jamaican, right?
No,
so,
yes, I would say yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Okay. And a person who born in Trinidad would accept them as Trinidadian, right?
Right?
Okay.
Yeah.
Babs from Barbados, so we consider as a Bayesian, right?
yep, Barbadian.
All right. So who determines that we are Jamaican, Bayesian, Trinidadian, and all these things, Caribbean blacks? Who determine all of that?
Well, we can determine that for your own depends on where you're born and where they call the island. In the island name now, you can contest that on a different ground because we did not make this place, we did not name this place, but that's where we born. So we just going to
Okay,
use
but
that
then,
name.
even though it wasn't our place, it's not our home. We were brought there, our
Yes, but
so-called brought there. So now the
Island girl
same.
Ruby. Big up.
All right, so the same place, right, that our ancestors, based on the history, were jumping off slave ship, drowned themselves in the ocean. Now one got the new world. You know what I say? And it's the
yeah.
same place we decide to stay. Why?
Well,
So let me,
you know what I mean about that part still.
so,
I
so,
know
so,
what you
so,
mean. Because of
so let me
opportunity, success.
so let me respond to you, right?
Mm-hmm.
The reference Jamaican is what they would call an endonym, right? The
Mm-hmm.
nationality ascribed to a people, right?
Mm-hmm.
You distinguish that from ethnonym and so forth, right? You have people exonym, right? Exonym, like for example, you know how we refer to the country where the Nazis were referred to as Germany, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's external people who define it as that, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the people, from a denonym perspective, refer to themselves as Deutschland. They're from Deutschland, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
True.
yes,
True.
yes, yes.
True.
So,
Yeah, yeah.
though from a nationality perspective, I am Jamaican and culturally so, I graft onto a larger thing where I would probably refer to myself as a Pan-African. So people name themselves, and oftentimes external people name you. But
Mm-hmm.
you, of your own volition, are able to define who you regard yourself as.
Okay.
And beyond being Jamaican, I am definitely a champion of the Caribbean and the broader African diaspora and then continental Africa.
Okay. All right. So all these terms that you're giving me is not our terms. There was terms that was made up by the so-called British, English, French, Spain, and all of these things. These are not our things. Because you have to remember now, according to the history, when the slave ship them come to the so-called New World and the Caribbean, right? All of we are black people, family, friends, cousin, neighbors, they on the ship, right? Watch our part here. Them say them stop at Haiti first, right? Remember, say you have brother and family they on the ship, Them let off say 100 black people are Haiti, right? Them didn't let off everybody, Then them got Barbados, Jamaica, Ray let off a whole bunch, right? So now you're now called a Haitian, you're now called a Jamaican, you're now called a Bayesian, and so forth and so forth. So now we look on everybody as different. We are no longer the same because we claim these so-called identities that was bestowed upon us. And we still do it
So,
to this
so,
day.
so let me respond to you, right? And I get where you're coming from. And if I'm not mistaken, the first enslaved were taken to Brazil and then Barbados, right?
No,
Yes,
no,
yes.
I'm just giving an
no, no,
example.
no, I know, but your point still stand, right? Your point still stand. And I think by you saying that they gave us these names and so forth, you're talking about the nationality and so forth, right? You have to
Mm-hmm.
understand that these so-called modern nation states are they use the Westphalian sovereignty systems as the fulcrum to define what they are. These are new references. These modern nation states didn't exist prior, and I agree with you, right? To the extent that we're
Mm-hmm.
black, as Peter Tosh posited, we're African. And
Mm-hmm.
we're using Pan-Africanism in a capacity of Sankofa to go back to Africa, hoping to create that bridge. The thing
Mm-hmm.
about it is that Pan-Africanism is just a road, a pathway back to Africa, not the view of Africa. And a lot of people, the problem they have is that they then have this Western imprint on Africa that doesn't exist in Africa, never exists in Africa. Africa has never been homogeneous. Within any respective modern nation state in Africa, you have countless tribes. We have this simplistic view of Africa, wherein when we go to Africa, we're confused because because for example, this idea of black is so new, you know. You know what I mean? The Xhosa person from South Africa, the Bantu person, the Amara, the Oroma, the Tigray people, the Yoruba, the Igbo people, they are coming way earlier than being black. And that's why even enough African don't view themselves as being black because what them are dealing with bigger than black. You see me I say? So this notion of being homogenous, we have to temper it because it doesn't reconcile with reality.
And a
Mm-hmm.
lot of and a lot of identification is based on the individuals themselves. So if you look at even Africa again, Africa is kind of pretty much like almost attached to the Middle East. Um, so in the
Yes,
Middle
it
East,
is.
you look at people in Palestine, etc. They're considered to be Arab. Egyptians are Arab, and you cannot call them Arab, right? And even though Egypt is in Africa, right? Morocco, all of these are Arab nations because their first language is Arabic, but some people allow you to call them Arab, like the Palestinians, like those from Jordan, Saudi Arabia, etc. But then you can't call an Egyptian an Arab, even though they're Arab. So people actually define themselves what they want to be identified as.
And and real quick, and that's what you call an ethnonym, where they decide to self-define, right? And let me say this real quick. And to Bob's point, a lot of us are so romantic when it comes to this thing called Africa, the 54 countries in Africa. I mean, North Africa and a good portion of East Africa, they don't subscribe to Pan Africanism. So you see, to the extent that we may gain any utility, it's in sub-Saharan Africa, and we shouldn't expect that to be on our terms either, because they view themselves as particular references that predate being black. Black is a new notion, and you go back to Barbados and Jamaica when they were codifying what this thing called black is. See? So when you hear an African person say that they're not black, it makes sense because black didn't exist before the New World became a thing. So it's in places like Barbados, when Sir Hilary Beckles will tell us about the slave code and a whole host of stuff. And we come to realize that even this thing called black is largely ephemeral compared to the existence of what we subscribe to in Africa. So even within reason, we don't really work with black.
Yeah, well, even look, if you look at Russia, Russians are considered to be Asians, right? But they're
Exactly.
but they're white people. So and they're actually European descent, but they're considered to be Asian. So when we start looking at how we label ourselves and who's Asian, who's Vinci, who's black, like everyone's using a different standard. It's not one standard that people are using to identify themselves as to say, okay, well, we're all black, or they're literally looking at ethnicity, at culture, the at religion, right? So it's complex, and it's just hard to kind of just draw a straight line and say here's what's happening in this is why you're black, this is why you're white, whatever, because you start getting into all these areas. Guyanese people go through it all the time. They're Caribbean people. They're culturally Caribbean. Same with Panama, same with Belize. And people will be like, Guyanese people are not in the Caribbean, they're in South America. And it's like, they do not have any South American culture about them. They're entirely Caribbean, but they're located in South America.
I'm glad that you mentioned that because it was so baffling and it was so alarming when I heard people a few years ago saying that Guyana is not Caribbean. And I'm wondering, are they not mindful of what it means to be Caribbean? And Bob's just explained what it means to be Caribbean. It's not necessarily that you're part of the physical landmass of South America or you're an island in the Caribbean. Understand? It's a cultural reference and largely a Anglophone type thing too, in some respects, as far as how the Guyanese are grafted to being Caribbean. And they're wholly Caribbean, no different than the Jamaican person or the person from Barbados.
All right, let me share a little something with you, all right? And you know, so before the so-called Caribbean terminology exists, everything was just the Americas.
Yes, and I'm glad you bring that up.
Okay.
And
Okay, so hold on now. Jamaica itself and all them country there in the Caribbean where we know North America, South America, those were all part of the Americas.
but remember, you have a thing called the OAS, Organization of American States, right?
Joy Leisure.
Right? You have
So
OAS.
if you're doing the research and take a time travel in a them time there, so me I talk about this was all America, North
Right.
America, South America. It
Yeah.
was no
And let me
real North and South. It was just the whole of America.
and let me add to what you're saying, right? So in the time of Simeon
Yeah.
Bolivar, and if we're Jamaican or Haitian, we should know about Simeon Bolivar. When they spoke about America, they were talking about South America, right? North America was an afterthought at that point. You understand? So yes, at one point when Simeon Bolivar write, and you can read his letter from Spanish Town and so forth, or when he even engaged with the folks in Haiti, when they spoke of America, they weren't talking about North America. They were talking about places like Venezuela, Peru, and so forth before they became a thing. And that's the neat thing about writing. When you look at something that was written 200 years ago, and if you read it without context, you would think he was talking about North America or the United States of America. He was largely talking about Venezuela and those places before they became a thing. So I totally agree with you. But again, we are part of the Americas. It's just that when people think Americas, they may think United States of America, North America, and South America, but we are part of the Americas.
Thank you, sir.
That is facts.
And
Jerry, what?
Another thing we want to touch on, right? Because
Yeah, go ahead.
I love them type of reasoning. As
For real.
far as people speaking different languages, where did that all started from?
depends on your worldview. You may think of the Tower of Babel. It's just, it's just different. And
Well, Bella. We're
go
glad
on
they
and
said
talk,
that.
man.
No, man, I really
Talk.
talk. If we're going according to the Bible, right? If we're going according to the Bible, the people that were united speak in one language, right? And according to the Tower of Babel, them are build the tower to go up in a so-called heaven, right? And God and them people, them look down upon them and say, how them I do? How them I try to? Teach up yourself. Come I could go down there and compound them language. And then everybody,
Yeah.
according to start speak different language according to the literature of the Bible.
Mm-hmm.
So,
So that's
so make
where,
sure. Let me-
yeah.
No, because when you speak about language, right? And I can tell you, say, though you and I are Jamaican, it is very possible that we've lived in America for as long as we have, that we can prop our laugh.
Lala Bella, yeah, touch on some
Doubles
subject.
allowed.
Me love. You know what I say? Yeah, we love them
Yeah,
type of reason.
yeah, and I can tell you, we're going to be able to connect where we make more sense to each other
Each other.
versus the person in Jamaica. I can tell
Mm.
you, like, as much as to your point, we talk about who gave us these titles, Barbadian, Jamaican, and so forth. I know say if me sit down and talk to Babsy is gonna make so much more sense to me than the next person who call themselves Jamaican. And a lot of others have you know them kind of way they have a thing called the interpretive gap. And I
Mhm.
expect a chasm between me and enough Jamaicans versus probably non-existing when it comes to me and Babsy, and even for yourself too. You understand? Like
Mm.
even with Davin earlier, and Davin talk about New Rochelle and all these places, and you know what I mean. Me they live in the Bronx at one point in time. Man, that man can sit down and talk about all of those kind of things. The one we were relate and overlap so much that then you know them kind of way that. So we really love them reason and these discussions are so important. You
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
understand? And
Yeah.
you know,
The
Babsy, you know, I always talk about the great man from your country, right? Sir Hilary Beckles, right?
yes,
And when the great man, you know if you know about Sir Hilary Beckles, you know, the vice chancellor for you. You know what I mean? Man, they on a level. I used to when Sir Hilary Beckles met me realize, say, yo, Caribbean people never really did know each other, you know. Because before the advent of a plane, how could a virgin from Trinidad even interact with a man from Jamaica? See? You understand? And you see Sir Hilary Beckles when him start break it down. You're like, yo, these things should be obvious to her. I will never know. So you see, and when me come to America, especially when I move to Atlanta from New York, I'm gonna start meet people from the Caribbean. We're better able to interact with each other. Same thing in Brooklyn, the same thing in Toronto, and so forth. So you see, as much as we're Caribbean people, outside of UWI and the West Indies cricket team, we didn't have much in common, you know. And then that speak to the great Joshua Manley. And they write about the West Indies cricket team. And geeks like me and Bob they subscribe to the expansion of that into all the different things. And we always brainstorm, thought experiment. What if we had a West Indies football team from way back when? How much
right,
World Cup would I win? You know them kind of way there? And what if we
Mm-hmm.
meaningfully they have the West Indies Federation, which is what CARICOM is trying to approximate, wherein we saw ourselves as one people economically, politically, and so forth. Because remember, in the same way that we needed the University of the West Indies, there are a lot of other agencies where we need the same kind of way, But because of people like Buster Manty and so forth, this wedge between Trinidad and Barbados was created. You understand? And Sir Hilary Beckles, the great man, again, look up Sir Hilary Beckles. And the man talk about nation building 2.0. And then Queen Babsy go post a thing last week. And I said, hold on. You know, so me never really a factor into under the auspices of repertory justice that the Virgin Islands would want to be wholly independent.
yeah,
And you start real, you know what I mean? And them things just pique my interest one way. And life is what it is that we're oblivious to a lot of these things sometimes. It's not our fault. But
Yeah,
when we
let me
sit
show
there,
you
I say,
something.
wow.
Hey,
Show
hold
me
on,
something.
hold on, General.
It's
Hey,
okay,
yes, we
it's
can say, I always up on this, and I always say, yo, imagine it was a United States of the Caribbean, like the whole like Caribbean is a operate like one entity, different countries, yeah, but a one entity. Imagine
Yes.
like, everybody are like yeah, like unilateral decisions, economic decisions is like the whole Caribbean are like one person like maybe are a one parliament basically rule the whole line. What do you think would have happened with that?
Chaos.
Virgin? Chaos? What's a chaos?
You think that's a
You,
big chaos?
So what
you
about
said
the
the
West
European.
Indies Federation? The West Indies Federation idea from the late 50s, early 60s.
Yeah. So when you read the West Indies Federation Act, which subsequently informed the Jamaican Constitution and other constitutions, the whole we have to look. It's so dynamic, right?
Mhm.
Under the auspices of the Monroe Doctrine, America did everything it could to get the Europeans out of the Caribbean, right?
Yeah.
And when England was pretty
Yeah.
much bankrupt and couldn't maintain, because England, it wasn't benevolence that informed them, so-called, giving us whatever independence we realize. And we have to love Trinidad. Look how early Trinidad got republic. You understand? And we say Barbados go, and we say Barbados being independent agents elevate Rihanna to a national hero. Whatever it's worth, the great Bob Marley has not been able to secure that. Um, the West Indies Federation was supposed to be an entity put in place for the former colonies of the Anglo-Caribbean, wherein they can be part of that union, whether it's a federation or confederation, and we would coexist in a way where we would then mature, and to the extent that we eventually want to become independent entities of the West Indies Federation, that was possible. But because of politics for the British Union, Bustamante in particular, seeing that he wouldn't have much power in such a paradigm, he fought against it. And you see, even CARICOM, if you guys really look at the history, in Jamaica, the Labour Party has never been pro-CARICOM, because it was never their vision.
I can tell you some things about Jamaica and CARICOM.
Yeah.
Jamaica is one of the reasons right now, like the regional, that the
Really?
regional, that the age of consent for females hasn't been moved up to age 18. Jamaica's against that. Jamaica's against a regional criminal database. Jamaica's against a regional sex offender list. Like they vote against anything that would warrant uniting information together, like as one movement. They don't want us having access to Jamaican information, and
Right.
they don't want to protect the children by raising, statutory rape, and even
True, Babsy. True.
and even in some instances, if you double check, I don't know if they made changes to it, but in Jamaica, boys cannot be raped in Jamaica.
I'm not
So
sure if it's changed. Yeah.
yeah, but at the time when we were looking at it, like that was 2018, 19, just before COVID. A boy couldn't be raped in Jamaica because boogering is against the law, right?
Against the law, yeah.
So boogering a minor male didn't count as a crime.
Yeah. Serious things. And you know what happened? It's when we speak to factual things to the extent that we know them, I think we should just examine them to either be factual or counterfactual. And we shouldn't look to demonize individuals. And I can attest to the fact that sometimes you put forward certain factual claims that are just not convenient for people, and they attack you, the ad hominem attack, as opposed to attacking the substance of what you're putting forward. And it's real talk. The reality of it is that the European Union knew they had to create that union to be able to compete with America. And for the same existential reasons, we need an empowered CARICOM. And there are differences between the respective jurisdictions, but we've got to come to the understanding that it is in our best interest to unite. And Bob's the best we are on Trinidad right now. You know what I
Who
mean?
that?
Bob's, you want to talk about your bestie? We are on Trinidad.
All right,
Kamala,
go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Kamala, no. So Kamala is trying to push a wedge between Trinidad and CARICOM, and a large part of the reason that she's doing that is that she's having major objections to being in support of Palestine. She has issues in being in support of Cuba. She rather be in support of America because America, she says, can help her more so, and help Trinidad more so than Cuba can. So when the destabilization of Cuba transpired after the Venezuelan leader was captured, who's that? Devin?
Oh, yeah, go ahead, man. Talk about that.
Yeah. So when the leader of Venezuela was captured, and then the attempt to destabilize Cuba was happening, she was refuting, basically saying that they're not trying to destabilize Cuba for a war, but they were, because what they're trying to do is secure the oil backup for the war against Iran and the closure of the Strait of Hormuz. So she's siding with Donald Trump. She's one of Donald Trump's like groupies. So much so that she has caused so much disruption in CARICOM, like with the reappointment of the secretariat. Like she's just against everything. She's suing Barbados because they actually, I think they just finished that case. It's in two cases, but Trinidad is going up against Barbados and CARICOM because of a illegal gun dealer from Trinidad who basically was extradited, went to Barbados to spend a night because he was making connecting flight to Miami the next day, and they basically intercepted him and extradited him. And because there's no extradition policy in place for criminals that have not been arrested, she's been fighting Barbados. So she's just fighting everybody right now. She's fighting everyone,
So it's
and
clear
she's
that I was
Donald
being
Trump's best friend.
right.
But
So
if
it was
you're
clear that
Donald
I was
Trump,
being
you now go win.
so it's clear that I was being facetious when I referred to her as Bobby's bestie. I was being
Yeah, no,
facetious.
no, yeah, no,
Yeah.
Lalabella.
Yeah, then.
Yeah.
Lalabella, believe me, thank God for him. Yeah, I'm telling you right now, the Rambo Lalabella. There's certain people I'm like, thank God. But so yeah, so she's causing a lot of ruckus right now. She's trying to split CARICOM down the middle, and she's gonna make it happen. Andrew Holness, Jamaica, I think will leave CARICOM because he's in the same kind of boat. He's taking favors from Benjamin Netanyahu, and Jamaica's in a very difficult place because Chinese own the port in Kingston, and the Mexicans control the airport. So Jamaica has to be kind of careful right now, to be honest.
But
Bobsy. All right.
me I look
Go ahead.
on TikTok yesterday, and this lady post up. I show you know the phone all I think where you can put your phone in and so you can stuck it up on the glass and put your
Yeah,
phone in it while you're driving. The police pull her over and give her a ticket for that $10,000. No, I do not understand what is going on in Jamaica, but I'm trying to figure out sometimes if like if some people living in denial or is something that they like or you know Jamaica people really care traumatized about them because of their life where they live and where them go through. But are they blind or something to see what the government is doing in the country? Because
yeah,
just like I was talking about before, said even them telling themselves that something is building up here, everything is good. But yes, still the people of the country is suffering, yo, and on putting all of these things in place to bring down the people them more than how you're helping them to develop. So but I'm trying to figure it out. What is going on?
So to Bob's the point, right? Jamaica may go the route of a Brexit. I I I I I, I totally agree with her. And Bob's, this is why I mentioned the Jamaica Labour Party has never been pro CARICOM. And Edward Siaga eventually had to acquiesce when it comes to certain aspects of CARICOM. But for a long time he fought it. You understand? So I wouldn't be surprised with what you're saying that Jamaica would eventually leave CARICOM.
yeah, yeah.
I don't
That
think they like the prime minister
government.
that they have down there right now.
No,
They
no,
don't like the who?
I don't think the whole carry company. I don't
Government.
think they like the prime minister, Jamaica prime minister.
No, well, he went to Israel and was fraternizing with Netanyahu. That photo
Mm,
went viral in the Caribbean, and
yeah,
everybody just side-eyed him from that, right?
yeah.
right, right. And remember, in the first Trump term and so forth, Jamaica aligned with, and again, spoke about the liberal rules-based order versus realism, and clearly Andrew Holness is being informed by realism, in the sense that Andrew Holness is well aware of the hegemon, how powerful America is, and when us, from a moral or ethical perspective, lament what they've done relative to Cuba, a country that has given so much to Jamaica and elsewhere, and we spoke about Africa and so forth. For existential reasons, it seems as if Andrew Holness, no doubt, is going the route of realism. He's been practical, and I do have issues with a lot of what he's doing, but he has to understand that in the long run, an empowered CARICOM is better for everyone in the region.
Everyone. Yeah, yeah.
But he doesn't operate from a place of, like, let's say, righteousness, if you want to say that. He
Him is
he's
not
not
yeah.
he's not really pro Caribbean. Um, he's pro JLP, right? Like,
Yes.
and when I watch how he maneuvers externally from where I am, he doesn't even refer to, like, if you listen to him do speeches, when he speaks about Jamaicans, he's the only prime minister that never says us or we Jamaicans. He'll say you Jamaicans. Like, listen to his speeches when he talks.
A true
He,
yata, probably.
Yeah.
he
More like
never says
that.
he never says us Jamaicans. He'll say you Jamaicans, or he never says we Jamaicans. He rarely uses that type of terminology as if the Jamaican people are estranged from him, right? He doesn't speak as though Jamaicans and him are one.
Yeah. And Babs, you know what piqued my interest also?
What's that?
When the great Mia Motley went to
Yeah.
Jamaica, she was invited to speak at Norman Manley's 100th birthday, right? No, no,
Mhm.
Michael Manley's,
Yeah, Michael Manley.
right? See, and I must scour the internet, and I don't think I was able to find one instances where I found a photo with, I was gonna say with Babsy and Andrew, but I mean Mia and Andrew. Uh, and
I can tell you definitively, like factual, Andrew Holness despises Mia Motley. He
of
doesn't
course,
say much about anything when she's around because he'll like he used to be part of the boys club, so it's like Keith Rowley from Trinidad, and then it's like Keith Mitchell from Grenada, Ralph Gonzalez from St. Vincent, and whenever Andrew would say stuff, those guys would just let him talk. But when he says stuff and Mia Motley is around, she kind of like pulls his socks up and checks him and says that like what he's saying isn't factually correct. So he stays really, really quiet when she's around. So you'll
but
very
I
Babsy,
don't
rarely
think him
see.
like her. It's not correct. I don't think him like her because remember she tell us that she learned from Michael Manley.
listen, of
I don't
course,
think him like her.
Babs, there's this delayed effect when Andrew Holness may take 2, 3 years to regurgitate aspect of what Mia Motley said way back when, right? Mia Motley is the voice of the Caribbean.
Mm-hmm.
Right,
If you talk to anyone in Africa and they were to speak about a Caribbean leader, they always bring up Mia Motley. And Babsy, as I said to you before, when Ethiopia was doing the opening ceremony for the Grand Renaissance Dam, the only person invited from the Caribbean was Mia Motley.
right.
Mia Motley is everywhere there are substantive discussions and so forth. It is Mia Motley's speech. If you look at YouTube, her speeches at the UN are the ones that
Go
Stand
viral.
out.
secure,
Yeah,
go
Stand out.
viral. You
Yes.
understand?
Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
so much substance from Mia Motley, and again, if you guys are yet to listen to what Mia Motley said at Michael Manley's 100th commemoration, it's unbelievable how much she's learned from Michael, improved on Michael.
Michael.
That yeah. She mentioned that she broke her leg when Michael Manley was in Barbados watching a tennis match, right?
yeah,
Because her dog was about to sip from Michael Manley's drink, and the youthful Mia Motley went there to save the day, and she
yeah,
broke her leg. She's beyond remarkable. And what I love about Mia Motley is that she understands the dynamic of the geopolitics of the day,
yeah,
right? She understands the scale of Barbados and even other Caribbean countries, but especially Barbados with the relatively smaller population compared to Jamaica. And she's trying to push for a CARICOM or push for the region period to approach things wherein our proximity, our scale can be beneficial. And when I hear the bridging from Jamaica talk, I'm like, yo, is he just countering the voice of reason just to counter?
yeah. Because
Because
he,
yeah,
he, he but you have to understand culturally the way the leaders in Jamaica have been culturally and socially, I should even say, is they've been able to navigate from a place of la la land, right? Like, so they can deal with Jamaicans in a way where like they're on Jupiter in their mind, and Jamaicans can tolerate that, right? Like a lot of the stuff that happens in Jamaica would not fly in a lot of these other Caribbean countries. Like, one of the things that was really, really annoying that Andrew Holmes did, and I had to stop watching it, was during Hurricane Melissa, and like he drove me crazy during this period because Like there was one day he went to Parliament and he was saying, I don't want Jamaicans rushing for aid when the aid truck and the food truck comes. You know, we are Jamaican people and we have a lot of pride. And I don't like how this looks. And in my mind, I'm like, you're really brainwashing hurricane victims right now that are starving and haven't had food for 2, 3 days and are sleeping under tents.
And I
Because
know them still don't get the food yet.
yeah, because you don't want video footage of you so that when you run for election the next time, or when all of these people that gave donations from around the world is saying, so then why are Jamaicans still struggling, but you got millions and millions of dollars in aid? So you're brainwashing them to believe, well, we're a people of pride and you know, we have dignity and we don't want videos of us rushing for aid. And it's like rich people were rushing for aid, poor people were rushing for aid because during a natural disaster, it's no one's fault. It's nobody in Jamaica's fault for Hurricane Melissa. So why are you telling them to have pride and dignity while they're suffering and starving? So that to
Babsy,
me seems so ridiculous. He would have got beaten up in any other Caribbean country
uh,
if he said that.
Uh,
He would have.
Babsy,
Good
Babsy, up
afternoon,
here, saying a
everybody.
Babsy. You see over
Good
here, say Babsy.
afternoon.
Hey,
You know
Bubble.
what I
good
like,
afternoon.
you know? When I make people come up here, come
Somebody
chat
attack.
about on a private stand and have nothing for second and don't know about nothing where I go on to Jamaica. Babsy, me want to see that video there. And number two, I want to play the video with the PNP. Them a talk about the facts
And
them always
the
a
same thing
hold
where
down
Babsy are talking about,
Andrew
tattoo
and
Babsy
them
are talking
always a
about that.
hold down the JLP things them. Me no want
Hold on.
nobody know this Babsy. I talk certain things about Jamaica without full understanding. I'ma feel like, oh yeah, talk right now. It's either you pick and choose what you say or you don't really know everything. I mean I go say you don't really know everything.
Hold on, hold on,
No,
hold on, hold
And
on,
what basic you say that, Bubble?
hold on, Doublemint. Salute, right? It's probably perfectly okay to touch on the topics you're talking about, but they're disparate from the context of what we're talking about, right?
Right.
No,
And here's what
hear why it don't, hear why it don't. Because wanna bring in other context. You see, when you talk about the Hurricane Melissa, that wasn't the context. So you that talk about before. Before me I say nothing up here, me understand the context. I did.
fine. All right. All right. Let me add to what Babs was saying about the wider Caribbean
Mm-hmm.
perspective, right? And Doublemint, to the extent that you know, I'm not too sure if you would know, right? For example, before Guyana discovered oil, they reached out to Jamaica to peg their currency to the Jamaican currency, where Jamaica would function as a reserve currency of the Caribbean, right? Because Jamaica has a more sophisticated financial system. And they were rebuffed by Jamaica. Now, in hindsight,
Jamaica. Who is Jamaica? Who is the government? Who is the person that rebutted or
the actual
refused their
the,
proposal? Under which government?
And I
under
liberal
J,
government.
under JLP government. And
Yeah,
Okay.
and,
the
and,
JLP government.
and Doublemint, you know, I probably shouldn't even mention this because the person who discloses to me probably hasn't given me permission to reveal his name. He's a PhD who was integral in divorcing the Bank of Jamaica from the government, and he shared this information with me. I was able to read it. So you know what? Let me just dial back because since I can't reference his name and you're asking a necessary question, who was the individual? I don't want to call the individual's name.
No, I was asking under which government.
JLP, no, the JLP government.
Yeah, that's what I asked.
Sorry, it was on the
Yeah,
JLP government.
answer. I didn't know
No,
I didn't need to
no,
know the name of the person. I do want
no.
you to continue though, but I'm Googling while you're typing. So I
You
need
know,
to
you
know
know,
what I'm
miss,
Googling about.
something. You know, in all honesty, Mago says, you see any slander of one Andrew Owens all allowed. You know why? Me live in Jamaica and me observe this man from the inception of him forwarding the government and thing and start the JLP up till now. And I am very convinced that he is demonic. Very convinced.
Well,
All
when I
right, so
read,
something outside of that now, Rambo. So yeah, him is demonic. Use the words now.
So is demonic a word to
No,
describe
but
him?
you know what I mean. Like this was a when I came here, this was an actual discussion where
Yeah.
even though I disagree with what Babsy is saying entirely, right? No, some of what Babsy is saying, let me say it that way there. But still actually hear her say something. But then you where say I am the Jamaican, you don't really again an example. You're just saying demonic. Demonic with
Yeah,
what,
so
sir?
that's so great. So that's what I'm saying. Ask me for examples. Ask me for examples.
Yeah, that
Great,
would mean when we say use more words.
great. So Andrew Willis is a man like this, right? And you see the mere fact said he was handpicked, hand selected to lead the Jamaica Labour Party when Bruce Golding did end up in a film quagmire.
Nice word. That's exactly the one I was going to use.
Yeah,
That's the exact word I was going to use, quagmire.
yeah. Well, you could just put it that way. There, quagmire. See
Yeah,
it?
talk about the first time road.
Yeah, not talk about the exact first time because he
Yeah.
was selected. You know, he wasn't
Yeah,
like
but then if never get elected the next time, so
yeah. Him get
forget
no,
that
him
part
get
then.
elected. Well, I know the government him get elected after the fucking and him get elected because the rest of the people then were swayed by the omnipresent Siaga at the time
Okay.
because Siaga basically instruct them a man to say, yo, this your man supposed to lead in the forward. And you see the backstory where I get to understand with even Andrew Wallace, so because Andrew Wallace, I believe his right name is Michael Andrew Wallace.
I think his middle name is, yeah, there's a Michael
Yeah,
where his
there's a
mother and
Michael
father
here.
are PNP.
Yeah, there's a Michael there because they name him after Michael Manley. But the some ideals are not of Manley, really and truly, based on how he operate. He operate like a capitalist.
You know what though? I'm perfectly okay with Andrew Holness, the agent in of himself, deciding for himself and electing to be part of the Jamaica Labour Party. I don't have a problem with that. And I truly have no issue with Andrew's legitimacy as being Prime Minister. He's legitimately the Prime Minister of Jamaica, whether he was handpicked or not. I get where you're coming from, but I think I don't think we even need to quibble when it comes to disputing his legitimacy. And I'm going to say this one thing real quick about Andrew Holness and where he is today. Jamaica really probably will become first world in the near future, you know, right? Jamaica
Yeah,
really
probably will.
probably will become a first world where they have meaningful industries and meaningful systems. The problem is that to what extent will that trickle down to the everyday person? I truly believe that Andrew Holness
No,
is in a unique position.
not under his tutelage. Not
Hold
under
on,
his
Yeah,
hold
tutelage.
that,
on.
but
But
I say
he's
that to
not
Rambo.
saying that. He's not
Me
saying
back up
that.
on
Let
that to
him
Rambo.
finish. Hold
Hold
on,
on,
Devin,
hold
because
on.
that's not what he's saying. Finish
Andrew,
then.
Andrew is in a unique position to deliver to Jamaicans that which has never been delivered to Jamaicans before. And when that comes, because I think it will come, we're then going to have to examine the efficacy of it because there's a distinction between the macro and the microeconomic component of it. And I was recently debating the same thing as relates to Edward Siaga in the 1980s. And Devin, as we mentioned earlier, Siaga built a few as the person referred to Siaga, the system builder. And to the extent that he built systems in the 1980s, it didn't mean much for the people of the day because they didn't get anything from it. And these systems were built in a way where they weren't properly regulated. And that culminated into aspects of what is FinTech. And me speaking from this perspective is not to absolve the Fresh Prince's government as it relates to culpability or complicity in that regard. But you see, Andrew Holness is benefiting from the meaningful things that prior governments have done. And
Facts.
my two favorite prime ministers in Jamaica are from two separate parties, Bruce Golden and Michael Manley.
And Michael Manley. But
Bruce
say
Golden and
this,
Michael Manley.
Bruce
say
Golden.
to say that
What
though.
Devin did I say?
What you
Eh?
say?
All right, with Andrew
No, I
Holness
said
so
Bruce.
far.
I said Bruce Golden, but I was wondering what Devin was gonna say.
No man, me used to
Okay.
work for Bruce, you know. Me used to work for Bruce, you know. But me used to be an inside agent for Bruce because even when him having party ending, me used to work for him. So
How
but I never vote because me is not a
Hey,
me,
hey,
what really happened?
hey,
me is not a
No,
voting
no,
man.
I tell
Me I
no, hold
tell
on.
you, yo, listen, brother. Listen, brother. Listen, brother. You see my area where we come from.
My year where I come from a bad people era.
Oh,
I,
Yes,
I,
yes,
I,
God.
you have people there who put you in a certain position because at the end of the day, my community have benefit from certain things.
yeah, man. When
That's what
certain
it is.
party and power
Rambo,
one
but
community suffer,
Rambo,
one next community live the bounties of
But
life.
me not, but I not want to, but me not vote. Me not vote. Me a go out and I give people information. Film said we whatever them give us and to go out and walk and talk to people. That's what I'm going out and doing.
Yeah, Devin,
Rambo.
and what I'm saying
Rambo,
is we know the Schweppes with the well, I about it. We know the
yeah.
Schweppes with the political
Babs,
party.
your sound
Part
muffled
right.
too.
When
Yeah.
one set a party in a power, a certain
Muffled.
community is living nice, and another community is living like some
I wish
odd
you go.
child out.
Rambo. Let me say
Mm,
something to you about Bruce Golden. You see
mm,
the kind of
mm.
vision that Bruce Golden has, still possess. If not for the man when him, if not for Edward Siaga and because Bruce Golden, his
Michael
father
Manley.
Tassius, Bruce, no, yeah, you know, I
Well,
love
I never
Michael,
Babs
I
again.
love.
Me did I tell her say she sound muffled.
Oh,
So
oh,
then me just say she see
Yeah.
her yeah. Cause
oh,
No,
you
I
okay.
was
sound
saying,
better now.
you guys don't know Devin. I told you Devin's grandmama was the first woman on the moon.
Hey,
Devin's mom was the
See
first
me,
lady of
hey,
climate.
hey, see me, Virginia, we are older man for me to say to him. He was a politician too.
I tell you,
My old man for me.
Devin's
Mm,
mom was the first woman in
I them thing
Klansman.
there,
You don't know Devin, you
hey,
know. You don't know him, you know.
hey, me love politics, you know. Me
Mama
love
tell you,
politics.
it's something where here why me not gonna say me love politics, but my understand it is a necessity. People need to understand it. I them something me govern which part you live or your picnic I go live the future where I go come. And it's a game where people play, you know what I mean? But I don't like even here in America, I'm not a Democrat or a Republican. I don't do no JLP or PNP. For the fact that
Yes.
I like things that both sides do. You know what I mean? When I grow up, my mother depend all my mother talk about is Manly and her father, and that's all you hear about. So as in probably that gives him some form of edge. No, that don't mean shit to a person like me. You know what I mean? Like what have you done for Jamaica? And I feel like from both aspects, there's been good and there's been bad. For the PNP, I feel like they write a lot of things or they attempt to do a lot of things socially that benefits us as a country and how we would aid help and improve the community. What the issue with them is they don't understand the money, in my opinion. They've been terrible at it. And
I,
who I believe understand the money is the JLP party, because a lot of
Mm.
these programs that they are using now, they
Help
are
a program them.
programs that have been introduced by PNP a while ago that were either the funds were misused, not the work wasn't done, you know what I mean? But PNP signing some things like we can't use a railroad station for 50 years or something to the effect. I would have to go back and look up the exact thing. So guys, please,
okay,
you
okay.
could go and do your research on that as well. But when you make certain deals like that, without understanding the long-term effect, like it kind of did whole way in our certain, what I mean, position. So what may I say is a lot of the things that the PNP come up with, I believe they are brilliant ideas, just not funded correctly. You know what I
Okay.
mean? And then in the most recent years, may I see we have an improvement in even what people take home on a weekly basis, minimum wage raise. You know what I mean? It's even not a raise again if it not already do that in a some short space of time. Like I don't believe it's gonna be something that is short, but from a band, I may I grow till now. Me never see the country improve like oh it improved now. Could it be
But
better?
can I,
Absolutely.
can I
But
say
Hold on.
something to that
But the answer,
double? Can I
One moment,
just add
Devin.
a little thing to that? I just want to add one thing to that.
Okay.
When PMP in a power, I'm trying to figure out. I never hear the police, the nurse, the school. We never hear them bawling like this and they're not getting money.
Hold on for a second, Devin. Fair point. Doublemint, and to your point, I am agnostics as it relates to the respective parties. If you speak about history and the ideology, I do align with the PNP, right?
mhm.
Now, you see the instruments, economic instruments, and your wisdom mentioned it before I was able to touch on it, right? All these references are in place that were codified into law were done so by the PNP, most recently with Dr. Peter Phillips and Portia Simpson. And they projected all these things that you see come to fruition as far as the debt to GDP being where it is. They actually calculated to the T that it would be right where it is today. So the notion that they have the ideas but haven't been proficient in implementing it is not necessarily factual, right? And this is why I mentioned that Andrew Holness is in a position wherein he'll be able to deliver that which other prior administration haven't. And it's a function of one administration handing off to the other successfully. But
So
the
so
truth,
Nile, so Nile, the truth and the fact of the matter is, me I gotta keep it real. This is why I don't do party. I just do what it is, right?
which is fine.
Because yes, you can start something. It doesn't mean that you are able to maintain that said business and get it to where it's supposed to be. So while I understand what you're saying, I don't believe how they were managing it was the reason why it is here. So and me myself can go and find different things I can come up with
All right.
just to bring my points across. But for the purpose of the conversation, I'm not gonna go into anything specific, right? What I am saying is, even now, even up until right now, how government works efficiently and how government works to our best interest is when both parties are doing what they're supposed to do. Not
Hey,
just one, because we need an effective opposition, right?
all right.
And as of right now, I don't feel like the opposition is effective. And maybe it's because they feel away that all their ideas have been taken and being brought
Okay.
to fruition and shit like that. But for me, remove all of the extra shit there. Who I go get it done? And as of right now, I'm gonna see all the PNP will get it done, but I'm actually see the JLP are go on till it are done. So
Can I
go on.
answer? Can I answer first, Lalabella,
Sure,
in
sure,
regards
sure.
to why I had the issues with Andrew Holness? Okay, so
One
what
second,
what?
one second, one second,
Oh,
one second, please.
okay, yeah.
Mhm.
And social media. Everybody's giving out a package. No, I think in the initial days it's necessary, but I'm also very concerned about the dignity of our people. I don't like my country to be shown as people running to get food, fighting over a package and those kind. I don't like that. And it creates a kind of mentality that is not Jamaican. We are independent people at heart. We're not supposed to be doing handout, handout, handout. Now, yes, we are in a place where we need to do relief, but we must never give up our dignity. So if you have to give that quietly. Help the people who are in distress preserve their dignity. And the people who are in distress, remember your dignity, which is why I announced a week ago that we are going to transition from giving out of packages because it's becoming highly political. Who never get, and if you go to a man's place and then him say, oh, you never call me to go give package with you, and you only give to that. Look, the funny thing is this, the amount of JLP people who call me to say, PMP MPs get package and don't come to them. And I said, look, I don't want a political issue. Don't bother make no noise over that. Don't make no noise over that. It is disgusting that persons would want to make political issues over the distribution of aid. We have to bring an end to it then, because some people can't help themselves. They can't resist it. And so we are going to shift from the distribution of food packages to giving persons coupons or cards that they can go and buy the stuff that they need.
Okay, so in regards to that video, I believe he's saying that because he doesn't want people to track and video his failures. So that's why he's saying we the people are people of dignity. It's a hurricane and people are starving. What do you mean don't fight for food packages? So it just seems to me like that is the that type of a speech while he's trying to motivate the Jamaicans that are suffering. In if you look closely at what he's doing, he's playing a psychological game with them. He's basically telling them suffer in silence and don't say nothing
So
so that
don't say nothing.
yeah, that's what he's telling
That's what
them.
they did, yes.
That's what
And
I
guess what?
and I have
Although
a
they
problem
still
with
don't
that.
get the package yet. They still do not get the package yet, said we.
So that's
Still
what
do
I
not
was
get
upset
them.
about. When I saw
Wait,
that,
so
I
didn't
felt
he stop doing packages and didn't he put out and this is a question because didn't he just say in the video he's no longer doing food packages, but he's now giving out cards for you to go and get those said food
You ever see the
items.
car? You ever see the car that where the people and say them get and then show you what them getting in the plastic bag?
he
You ever
did.
see what they get in the plastic bag yet? Cause them show it, more than one of them in a different district. Do you ever
So is
see
it
it?
something different than what they were getting before?
Boy, probably
Let- let-
you know, because if you're just gonna give a person one look of sorrel juice and one something, you'll give them 2 tin mackerel, you'll give them one tissue, and probably like 2 pampers if them have baby and something. I'm trying to figure out what they're
And
gonna do to
how
people.
often are they allotted these
How
things with
often
your
can you get one
card?
thing and I get again?
So then whatever give
let-
them card for.
Okay, then I tell you, there's nothing. And where the whole of the food gone until now? Where the food gone?
I'm gonna
Where everything
Google.
that come from Japan gone? Where everything that come from China, India? Where all of the things them gone? Where the item is right now? Where the
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
but
generator them is?
okay, so like me did I say before
hold on a
go on
second.
through.
Hold on a second. Didn't in part of that speech that he just made when him said he's not for no more giving out the food them, but him gonna start give coupon and then the people with the coupon go buy
They
the
go for the
food.
food.
Yeah, that
That's
me
what he
just
said, buy.
ask.
But
And
guess what?
him
Not guess what? Not you have to have an ID to go and collect the food. If you don't have an ID, you cannot get the food.
but why
Yeah, but when
wouldn't
I
you
look
have
on that,
an
now look on the
ID?
word buy. Now look on the
so,
word buy.
But
well,
That's what
my
I
Yeah,
keep
issue,
but
saying here.
why? But hold on. Because this isn't strange to me. When a hurricane come here, we go join. I'm in Florida. We go join a long line, and when you join a long line, you fill out paperwork. They say, okay, all right, you approve, and then you see the money on the card after some time. This is not something that is, you know what I'm saying? But what I am trying to figure out, and I would just like us to be clear on this matter, was he transitioning from actually giving out this same package in person to putting the money on cards so people can go in and use cards and coupons to get the food and whatever instead of joining a line and collecting food?
No,
what he's doing is he's trying to minimize the opportunities for people to film the Jamaicans
Yeah,
suffering.
Babsy, but you see
So,
why I'm
all right.
you know what the
so
thing.
hold on. So
No,
he's
but
giving.
Babsy, that's your opinion. May I ask where him I say in the video him I do? Because I feel like based on the conversation, me want confirm if that's him say,
All
and
right.
then Jamaica vibes also just say something. So me feel like it make even more sense. Like I know me alone need little
All right.
clarity. So answer that part the first.
All
I'm
right. You
want
know
to know
what?
what him say.
All right. That part what I'm saying about is that I'm going to give out coupon for you to go buy the food. He never said to go and collect the food.
So wait,
Right.
and a coupon and card.
No
Yeah, you're
coupon I'm
echo.
going to give to you. You know, all right. You know, like up here, when you go at the health center where them give you those thing where you go collect the food for the something for the baby. And them stuff where them give them will pass slip there where you sign up for
Yeah,
fruits,
them
cheese,
yeah.
milk and them thing there. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's something like that in my gift to them. And you have to use that now and go to the supermarket now. So in the sense is that now, did you pay off the supermarket? So when all of these people come there, all they do, they just give in the coupon and collect. No, he said you have to buy the food.
oh, but the government. I want to
Mm.
circle back to something that you mentioned earlier, right? And sorry for belaboring this. And let me preface by saying that we engaged last Saturday. We spoke for what, 10 years straight,
Oh
and it was
my
a
God, yes.
it was a very good conversation. And Bob they ignore it,
Yes.
but
I
we're
got
not gonna
so
hold.
much
I
done
fell
on
asleep.
Saturday.
Don't do that.
Yeah, but
I'm older than all y'all. Stop that. Stop that.
I want to get to Michael yet, who shafted us. You know what I mean? Kept
Sharp.
on promising that he was gonna show
Fire
up,
upon
and
sharp. Next time, may I make it up?
Uh,
My bad.
Michael was blaming his
one
age.
second. 1 second.
May I make it up?
Anti script, go find a job.
Who that?
Who?
Yeah, go find a job.
Who's that?
Go ahead. The person know
Yeah,
themselves.
yeah.
Cause
Oh, I come in.
y'all are weird on the internet. You can't
And,
even come up here and say use your words. You wanna come chat shit. You don't know me, nigga.
what
Go
the person
sit
talk
your
about
ass down.
pagan and
Yeah,
system dog? What does that? What does any of that even
welcome,
mean?
man.
What does any of that even mean?
I don't even care what it means.
Right. But
Come,
anyway,
Someone
come
is
tell
coming
me to
in to
my
look for
face,
this, you know.
bitches. Come tell me to my face, please.
yeah, but
Go ahead,
All
Doublemint,
right,
yeah.
go on through now.
Doublemint, you see, and I hope to engage you at length pertaining to what I'm saying now, that I'm about to say rather. The IMF, the World Bank, and all these references, they've written extensively about what Peter Phillips and Portia did. And it speaks to what you're talking about. Both political parties, all stakeholders sitting at the table, engaging, discussing the economic future of Jamaica, which was done under the Portia Simpson administration, right? And if you when they speak to the instruments that are informing the economic growth in Jamaica, they in the most lucid of form state that it was Peter Phillips who is the architect of the financial system, and they spoke at length that everything that was planned has been executed to the T. And what you said earlier, right? That a party may have ideas and so forth and whatever, whatever. And I eventually want, so you don't have to, we don't have to belabor this and derail the conversation, but I am going to prove to you that the very thing that you demand is what the PNP has delivered. And the good thing about it from a democratic perspective is that in this 4x4 relay, when the baton went into Andrew Holness's hand, he never drop it, him forward through, and he's doing extremely well. And we've got to give credit to the Holness administration and the Simpson administration, because we need that level of continuity if we're going to realize anything meaningful in Jamaica. But again,
A one person may I carry for you now. A clubhouse
Libra Sun
administration, you know.
Goddess, big up.
A one person may I carry for you. She named
that,
Kelisha.
and
Me, you see winter. Whenever you're
hold
ready.
on, so we
Cause
can bring
one
my
thing with you know, me know you know your thing, you know. But
no.
you see, this is the thing about me. Like I found a way in my own way to find the middle in everything.
Which is good.
I'm a live this, so you know why? Because it doesn't matter what you try to explain to me.
That's fine.
No party no perfect. So
I
there is
agree.
no time at all that they didn't drop the catch. And then when them drop the catch, is somebody else have to help with that. So there is a thing where is why I still go forward to where you said the person forward to, which is everybody need everybody. Me not care who start
Uh,
it. Me not take, me
But
not come up here and say to you
no,
say,
hold on.
I think
Double
Douglas
minute.
is
No, make
looking
you
for
finish.
this
Make you
wrong
finish.
way
No,
the
make you
from where
no.
you
hold
talk
on.
about it still, you
Hold
know.
on,
Yeah,
make you finish. Make
me
you
not
finish.
come up here. Me not come up here and tell you say none of them better than none of them.
Is
The whole of
Right.
them I same thing. The whole
But
of them did a rob way up before. You know
but
what happened in Jamaica? Smart, we get smart as people. We start ask the right type of question them.
so
I
hold on,
true we
double minute.
start go to school more no, hold on, please. I true we start go to school more and more. Like I get this whole need to prove, and I know just because I was responding about the prime minister, is this need to prove, in my opinion, right now, like how good it is of the PNP. And what I'm saying to you is, I believe those are the reasons why we never move forward. Because instead of looking at where we are right now, the effects of what we need to move forward, we are talking about who started something and who this and who that. Like, nah,
Double
bro.
mint.
so
Double mint. I'm
doubles,
okay
so
with.
doubles.
No, sorry, Devin. Sorry, 1 second. Double mint.
Yeah,
I'm perfectly okay with everything we just said now. So when
yeah.
y'all gonna do this,
Me, you,
okay.
Kelisha, Winter.
None. I'm gonna need Bob's if you're there. See him.
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
and
Like Babsy.
and and anybody else for that, well, it's up to your platform. But you see, me have a PhD, or more of a bring on a PhD in economics. This is not me
Me
appealing
say
to authority. Hold on,
bring you
hold on,
everybody. A one
hold
person may I bring.
hold
One
on.
person, bring you
Listen,
everybody.
this is not my appealing to authority. I am responding to your need for meaningful discourse, and I
Of
love
course,
that.
no, it's a conversation. Yes, this is what I'm about.
Exactly. I love that. And
So,
the reason,
so bring your people. One people may I bring.
So
yeah,
so so
shall bring
so
Michael Jordan.
all right, so doubles. In America here, right? In America here, when Biden leave office what year? Donald Trump get the office from good economic, good everybody work going on good and everything. Now
Hold up.
Biden
When
Biden already set a lot of things in place already that have to carry out. Don't you think Donald Trump come carry out some of those things and take credit for it like it's him do it?
But she already touched on it already still, you know. She in a
Yeah,
one kind of way when it comes to
but
Jamaica,
that's
you
what
know.
me I say with her, even when you tell her say what something that the PMP party do and put in place from before even when them go to America and get what done. It's just what is there on paper, Labour right, the Prime Minister
No,
keep
but
on following and doing the
here's the
work.
thing, Devin. Me not take with that. Me never said them not do nothing. Me just I say where me believe each party strengths are, you know what I mean, to me. And then the fact that both parties are why we either were where we were or we are where we are now. You understand what me I say to you?
Yeah,
But
me understand that, yeah.
me hate the PNP because the
No, no,
PNP.
man, no, man,
Nah,
no,
me not say none of them something there. Like
no, man.
I know my
You know the
conversation
them there, you
that
know the them the thing there, you know the
but what may I
them.
tell you is, I've listened to enough political debates, right? One time, one man named Patterson, we have one party, one new party where him did a farm in a Jamaica to all forward and did a try for introduce people to him party. That was a fucking disaster because the moment the people them ask about minimum wage and the man go say everybody have to go negotiate them on a contract. Me say the whole blood clot place erupt and clubhouse. Me couldn't control it.
Yeah,
You
talk
get me
about,
I tell you?
you talk about PJ
Hey,
Patterson and the Workers'
No,
me
Party.
not
get
that Patterson.
well,
There was
me get
another
Okay,
gentleman that was
okay,
trying
okay,
to
me
start.
get
I think
picked
the
by my
party was
president too.
formed. His last name was Patterson as well.
okay, okay.
He's a pumpkin farmer that I know. He used to live in Canada. No, I'm just telling you when I know him. He used to live in Canada. Him have a party in Jamaica. Don't you when the little girl with the dreads did have problem. It did upon news all heap. Don't you that's what me see my march and whatever. Yeah, it was a disaster. So I've listened to enough of these debates to know that while each party does good, each party does fucked up shit too. You
True,
understand?
true.
So at the end of the day, I choose no fucking sides. All
Which is
them
fine.
niggas is friends outside of politics. All of them is friends. They eat at the same table. They laugh with the same people. None of them is truly for the people. You understand what I mean? So me see when me I go use one person and then me I go give somebody else the mic. Mam Danny. Me see Mam Danny take New York and boy the things them where we are saying that the whole of America, them want America for be like him just serve it up on a fucking platter and him don't even reach 1 year in him term yet.
And
So
you know what too funny about that right now? The people must say they would have love America run like how New York City I run right now.
women
I
are
saw them
telling
don't want it. The man have turned the place the right and properly way. Yeah. I will love it.
when you hear all child care, you know, people are get child care and them something there. Them there are things that people are struggle with right now. People are pay 400 and add 600 and add dollar for newborn baby. They are
A
something for
week.
a week time, you
A
know.
week.
People think it easy. Not
Twelve
You
easy.
hundred
know,
dollars. $1,200 me spend a month for my little son. My son a 3 year old.
Hold on, Devin. Devin, what
Hmm?
you say?
Twelve
Hey,
hundred
Devin,
dollars
you
me
know, always
spend.
I tell the people them up here say you're older than everybody up here.
What are you think? Say, you think I look at it? I want to you. So what that have to do with it? And right.
Devin,
Anytime I make more money right now, more bust two more. So you
see
stay
that?
there, trouble you gear,
Raspi.
man. You must say, hey, at 14 away, my father get, I'm the
How
only
much you
God.
gone already?
Me gone 7 but a 6, then give me.
Oh.
See there?
I'm there pan
No.
traveling. My mother get 10, my father get 14. My grandfather have a whole heap of jacket. That's why me think, because him have picked me from Portland to Montego Bay. 42 picked my grandfather same up. I think enough of them they are jacket too. Me have a
Yeah.
uncle, me have a uncle, we have 27. Me have another uncle, we have 8. Me have a auntie, we have 19. Oh, hey, big family, No normal. For my father's side, not my mother's side. My father's side, big. So
Nile.
Yeah.
more on my 10. More on my 10.
1 second. Nile.
Yes, ma'am.
You talk you know you always outside of this?
No.
Oh, okay. Well
Why?
me that was say for send him the information for when me send it for the room. Come actually I
Mm-hmm.
go message Kelly's and shit. Make him know. Come if he's a man, me I say man, but me no know how but yo, make you know. I like
Yeah,
when him
man.
reason in the chat.
Yeah, man. So you see, you always we've engaged independent of this platform on and so forth, and some of the things that he was talking about the other day is of interest to me. And to your point, I mean, in split justice, just like you, and so forth. You know what I mean? I mean, you
Mm-hmm.
always is on Substack. You always, is a writer and so forth, and right.
Got
Um,
you. Well,
y-
just it's in my I don't know how I would send it, but it's in my YouTube thing.
yeah, we'll
Well,
figure it out.
yeah.
We,
Well,
we,
I would
we,
like for you to be there.
yeah, man, definitely. And you see, when you talk about the politics in America,
Okay, he's a male. Okay, okay.
yeah, man. Oh, yeah, he's a man. I mean, yeah, I didn't know if that was up for. Sorry, I didn't. Sorry.
Okay.
Yeah,
Big up you always so more for them. I like read your comment them in a chat.
yeah, man.
Even if you disagree with my point, I never actually see you use words like I want me to that idiot gal cause like that doesn't work. You can never think that I'm an idiot. You can
I,
disagree with my opinion, but if you think I'm an idiot, then you's a fucking fool and then you're not really worth it. You see me? But I like when you can disagree with me but use words. So I would
I,
like for you to be there.
I hear what I appreciate about your whistle, too, right? There are instances wherein I would say something that's either complete or within reason incorrect, and he has no qualms when it comes to letting me know that, yo, I hear you, but yada yada. And just like, for example, even with when we were engaging earlier, based on the dynamic of the conversation, we're talking about Russia. And he's correct that Russia is not homogenous. You know what I mean? Part of Russia is in Eurasia and part is in Europe. And he correctly pointed that out. And none of that would have offended myself nor Babsy when we were talking earlier. So, yeah, I like people who keep others honest.
You have to can disagree to agree to things.
Yeah, man. I like when people keep other people honest. Yes, when it comes to America, there are things I like about the Republicans and there are things I don't like about the. There are things I like about the Republicans and there's some things I like about the Democrat Party. You see, if you have children in America, like the Republicans, they offer school vouchers and so forth. And when you look at America as far as upward mobility, if you want to secure upward mobility, for all intents and purposes, you have to have meaningful education. And a lot of inner city black kids go to fail in schools that are propped up and treated like daycare. They prioritize feeding kids versus teaching kids. And in many Republican jurisdictions, they offer vouchers where if you secure, like for example, in New York City, right? Devin, you
Mm-hmm.
should know, it
Yeah,
costs
man,
about
no, man.
$25,000 to educate each child,
Yeah, man, me know,
right?
man.
And
So
guess what? Go ahead.
no, me did I go say, me feel like other person. Cause me live in a red state my entire time being here, right? And me not believe even Bush brother did terrible like that brother. I don't, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I don't
yeah,
believe
yeah, yeah, yeah,
like
yeah.
it's so many, and I hear you. Do I think they can make better choices? Yes, but I think wanting to even feed the kids should be a fucking priority. You understand? And I believe like a lot of things that were important to even like a Jeb is definitely not important to somebody like this DeSantis. But like with everything, him have good
Hmm.
and him have bad. You know what I mean? I just you have to figure out your space in the place. Ask question, be involved in your community. I say you go wiggle your way out. No, so you go
Um,
find the different place them where you can wiggle around in like
m-
trust me, like
more
I
me
often.
hear
don't,
what you're saying, Nile, but one of the
No,
but,
things I'm
no, it's
know
all right,
but
man.
Nile,
are just the
Nile,
person.
Nile,
Yes,
you see,
sir.
now in this time, now I'm talking for this 4 years now. I
Hmm.
don't think this party is good for America. This person I'm talking that's running now. I
So
don't think it is good for
more,
America.
more of to
In
touch
many
on this.
ways.
I want to touch on that because when you say good for America, then we have to define what America is.
Well,
But
well,
double mint,
well, for him, America is white. For him, America is white.
right? And we have to establish those baselines, right? But double mint, I want to ask you a question because yeah, when it comes to this anti-DEI campaign where they're scrubbing academia to remove all meaningful references to Black American history and so forth. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? That's
You
offensive, and
know,
the banning of books. But hold on, I'm asking to ask you one question though. Was it him who brought forward the Cambridge program, or does it predate him?
Predate.
Okay, all right.
Predates him. But
Okay.
I checked that out too because I wanted to I wanted to see it predates him. But what was I gonna say? It was in terms of something you
I
had
can't
just
read,
said
man. Sorry.
before. No, what did you just you
No,
can't
when we
read
say
my mind.
about this government
You need
about
to
the
read my
America.
mind.
Okay.
Can I say something to interject just for a minute there? Based on
Definitely, because I don't forget. Go ahead.
yeah,
Go ahead, sir.
based on the educational. All right. This is me speaking of me, right? I think
Mm-hmm.
the educational system in America is not really education, you know. It's like an institutional brainwashing thing. You know what I mean? I say, cause them set them thing a certain way where if you don't partake in their educational system, whether to get a GED, a regular diploma, a college degree, you can't partake in their workforce unless you have this document to show that I achieved this in their system. Now, I don't know if Alala Bella said that, somebody said that certain books are being taken out of school.
Oh, thank you, thank
Yes,
you.
right.
Right. So
Mm-hmm.
even though certain books are taken out of school, that doesn't mean we the parents can go, they go get them same books there and educate our kids.
All right. Let me
All
respond to
right,
that
so hold
specifically,
on.
right?
So hold on. So to that, right? 1 second. Remember, back when the COVID like kind of just a start, and
Mm,
we have online conversations now, and my daughter go to school, and that's how when we start go back now. So she go back at school now, and when I did them, she come in and she tell her father say, she learned say black people come to America for come help white people.
mm,
I'ma say, like when him tell me, I'ma say, what? I say, what you mean we come to America for help white people? I say, oh, it come up, like, because I needed to understand the context. And him say,
mm,
no, you don't know the how was school today, where you learn at school, and that she said she learned. So me kindly call her and ask her where she learn again. So that she tell me, black people come to America to come help white people. I say, Mama tell you this. I'm explain. No, that's not the case. When you're taken, removed from where you live by force without a choice, you did not come to help anybody. You were forced here to do work at their behest. I said that is the first thing you need to understand. After that, no, we are gonna go from there. But I also want to say me feel like parents have to be involved. So that part the way Jamaica vibes say at the end, which is the books are out there, even if you're not gonna use the books. If you have the knowledge, you for correct, check in, know where you're picking them and learn, fix, make sure so them step on the right. Like
mm,
some of we are not involved, period. So we don't even know where we're picking them and learning at school.
All right.
mm.
So, so,
Hold on,
so,
hold
so,
on. I want to share this
Well,
real quick. Me just take one, not even 1 minute, 30 seconds. There's a thing that say the way to hide things from black people is to put them in books because black people don't read. That's all.
Read.
yeah. All right. Want to respond to what you said earlier? Solid point, right? Want to respond to what you said with the government, You see, DeSantis is a man where he's banning certain books. And I think they may have gotten rid of AP, Black American History, African American History, whatever that is in Florida, if I'm not mistaken. Or they're relegated it to where it's not as much of a priority as it once was. In addition to him banning books, and speaking of books, there's this book by Ta-Nehisi Coates called The Message, and he wrote about the experience of them banning books in the Carolinas, Florida, and so forth. A very good book to read. It's unbelievable. He's a very good author. Um, Jamaica vibes. You know what's crazy? What's going on now? In
Mm-hmm.
addition to what the likes of DeSantis is doing, the AI companies are buying up rare books, scanning them, and destroying them.
Hey,
So, to the extent that you guys want these meaningful books that you guys talk about,
you have to get them from now.
Well, I know.
yes.
So yeah, what you just say, them a buy up books and destroy books. So that's the same thing where Napoleon and them are doing in Egypt when them burned down the library of Alexandria, my brother.
Well, get to the more contemporary. That's what the
right
Nazi
there,
Germany
so
did. That's what
that
Nazi
is why
Germany
we
did.
don't have no a lot of information is missing.
Exactly. And
Mhm.
that's what Nazi Germany wanted to do. So
That
I
is what
just
I'm
want
hiding.
him.
I'm hiding it.
All right,
Yes, I want.
let me show you something. I live in New York City, right? But there a long time. A lot of the things were me learn. I did not learn them in school.
Facts.
I learned them from
Facts.
reading books, ISIS paper, Behold the PLRs, and them thing there.
Oh
You know, man,
my.
certain
But
books,
have the
they
book there.
me,
You see,
Book.
certain books
It's
that
a,
me
even
read.
literally I read.
You
And the
know, man,
person who recommended it at the same Kelly Chanel. Go on through.
read
yeah,
books like what the church don't want you to know. Like them at
Mm.
the book there say, no people don't really believe in a God, you know. But them say them believe in a God because them no want go hell. But them not really believe in a God. There's certain books that me read. Me never read them things in a school because those things
Yeah.
books you not going to find in school.
But
all right.
you see
Hold,
why
hold, hold,
books
hold,
are oh,
sorry. I'm gonna shut up after this because I just love everything when I say. I'm gonna touch on the fact that Bustamante at one point in time and Queen Babs, you can talk about what they did to Walter Rodney, the riots, the banning of black books or black conscious books in Jamaica at that time. And it's if I have the luxury Jamaica vault of attending several of Dr. Francis Cress Welson's lectures at Howard University. So of the ISIS paper fame. And it's just her and Neely Fuller. It doesn't get any better than that. And I stand on my geek out for them thing there. And I'm grateful again that I was able to listen to her lecture before she passed. And to your point, most of what we learn, will be autodidactic, self-learn, right? The whole idea behind school, meaningful schools, is that it equip you for the world. But then
mm-hmm.
you have your own volition. You've
Have
got to
to.
use those tools
Mm-hmm.
to secure necessary utility in the world of understanding. So
Mm-hmm.
that's exactly the objective. But I think in the conversation we were even having the other day about lawyers and so forth and lawyers and so forth, most people go to lawyers and go to doctors thinking they have all the answers, not realizing that you have to provide certain perspective and
For
input for them to best
for
represent
them
you.
to yes.
Right, right.
So many
So, so,
different
so,
perspectives.
yeah. So that's the whole objective of school, right? And it's because there's so much information in the world. You know what I mean? Prioritize learning logic, learn of a reason in every possible way, and not just to say it because it sounds good in conversation. I literally study logic and philosophy because I cannot approximate the amount of information that's in the world. So what I prioritize in the capacity to discern, to decipher and discern information.
All right. So tell me when me I try for do, cause you don't know how you have the words them. So you see me, me feel like me I live right now for see things in a books when nothing in a book. Me I live right now for see things we're supposed to in a book, don't in a book. Me I live right now for see things were in a book twisted, right? For say one different thing in a book. We're supposed to have a different thing. You hear how that sound?
Yes,
Crazy to me. So for me, I prefer understanding perspectives. I
that's
find I
it.
learn a whole lot more. I understand a whole lot better when I know the perspective that you're coming from because it's not about agreeing or disagreeing for me.
Exactly.
It's understanding the logics behind of it because I may not agree with your logics, but it don't mean to me and I understand what you mean by it. You understand? So for me, I do agree that a lot of the things I didn't learn in school. However, what I can say is to the point of the whole God thing that somebody brought up. I don't know if it's you or Jamaica, right? My my whole sentiments around, I guess, my life and how I feel about this is from school. One, big up Mr. Faulkner, a holy childhood, and two, like church, right? Because we used to go Catholic school, Anglican church, at Sunday daytime, right? But anyways, in our school, we did have to do the different religions, and all of us had to do something different. But there was a Chinese person at school, so she brought her stuff from her Buddhist. There's a Jewish person, so she brought her stuff, and wherever there's a Hindu person, she brought her stuff. So wherever there wasn't like Mr. Fatner would pitch in and bring in him one of things them, and so it kind of exposed me to shit. There's a lot of these different things, right? So from early, I kind of figure out a way so we have to respect other people thing. Cause the whole of we in the same school, but we are one Jamaican. You understand what I mean? So I not really judge nobody, I just know say Christianity are my thing over here, so and that a for them thing. No, the other part is that when you say people and the God thing, but they are church one day, and the guy, a guy visit the church and he's challenging somebody about God, and he's saying this come where the earth come from, or the earth come from, something will happen and and him say okay, then where make that, and him depend oh and it make from this that, and him say all right, what make that, and it make from and it doesn't say, and every time he said something, he said okay, well what made that? And he just kept going until at the point the guy got it. Like, it doesn't matter how far you go, somebody created. None of this is not on purpose. We don't
Okay.
walk around as humans too, where me see all a whale I give birth underwater and the milk is so potent that the baby in our water can drink the milk. In our water. It not just make. And not just one thing. You know what I mean? So for me, it came from that
Race.
understanding, right?
All right.
That everyone may not see God as the same thing, but I feel like all those religions is worshiping the same God. In my
Oh, here,
opinion, it's not about what other people think. This is about me. I feel like all of them and so what has become my thing now is understanding all these different religions. You know
all
what
right.
I mean? And where the people them like, I've been very into Muslims of recently. I've one little Jamaican brethren over the UK, big up biker, and I've seen his discipline, like especially during Ramadan, and I'm like, yo, that's mind blowing. You know what I mean? So like that's how me. I like different perspectives. I like learn about people. I like all of them something about the God thing. I know God real because my life show me say God real, but not outside of that. Like what make all of this? All of this is not just by chance. It's not just happenstance, in my
Okay.
opinion. So
So
yeah, go on.
so
Hold on,
God
real quick.
is
5 more minutes, folks.
you
5 more minutes.
know
No,
say see
I'll
all
go
the
back to
years
the
me
show.
hear people always a say them believe in God, but me always I wonder why you believe in God, why you don't know say there's a God. You don't see miracles happening every day, which you is here, which is one of the greatest miracle. Knowing that you have life, you wake up in the morning, say, can say thank God. Every day you
Real talk.
believe in a God.
So here, when me look at it now, I'm gonna respond to what government say now. Government.
Let me ask a question. Kind government open up certain doors right now. All right,
Yeah.
I'm
so
gonna respond.
Devin,
Michael, you have
hold
hold on,
on,
you know.
Devin.
Yeah, me hold on, me hold
Eh?
on.
No, I
Go
make
ahead,
Michael
go
have
Okay,
ahead.
more
so,
than
Go.
5 minutes.
Yeah, go ahead, go
so
ahead, go ahead.
Devin, when you say God, who are you talking about?
All right, we not talk about God like what the white man I talk about. Me I talk the higher power create me, make me there here. If you even want to call
So,
it in spirit or whatever. So me look upon the sun, me feel the breeze, me see the moon, me see the light, the natural light from me, my life inside of me. Me connected to a different being. So but when them a say them believe in a this God, who is this God where them say them believe into? Come I believe in a non God, you know. We
All
know
right.
there's a higher power.
So some people believe say
Libra
are
son
you.
goddess.
Cause may have
Big up,
one youth
Libra.
to talk
Thank
to.
you.
One youth to talk to. This is how him talk about himself. So when him attack him not say me. Him say his person. Cause him believes say him is a energy. Which me not disagree, you know, but me just like the theme thing. So him
Mm-hmm.
believes say he's this energy that's in this shell, right, which is his person. And so when the body is doing what the body is doing, you know what I mean, it's his
Yeah.
thing, but then he's gonna leave, you know what I mean, and that energy will never die and it's floating around and blah blah blah. And so yeah, his person.
All right. So you
Some
see,
people I feel like them are God.
earlier what you were talking about. What came before this? What came before that? You're talking
Mm-hmm.
about what the smart people them call infinite regression, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then it points to this notion of first cause, and then try to establish a causal relationship. And depending on what, and I'm gonna say this. I subscribe to Karl Marx' notion that religion is the opiate of the people. Now I'm making a distinction between religion and this notion of a God, right? And not all
Oh
religion
yes,
be.
man, you understand.
I'm sorry.
No understand. No, sorry, me
Right.
yes.
Sorry, and and not all religions subscribe to a godlike reference either, right? Because in Buddhism, they don't have a
Facts.
theist component to it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Uh, uh, this idea of God, to the extent that there is a reference that created all things that's created, I don't think that reference is captured. This transcendent reference, as they purport, is captured in in this thing that we call the Bible. You know what I
Or
mean? And
well, the
there
one that is presented to
are,
us.
are are any version of it ever, right?
Me
Unfortunately,
not
right?
know unless me see it, me can't say that.
And the truth is, we need to get into a conversation which is going to go beyond this, because you have to talk about things like theodicy, suffering, unnecessary suffering, and how that contradicts the notion of a loving God. And I don't think we have enough bandwidth to discuss it today.
Yeah,
But
man.
I don't necessarily subscribe to any of these notions and the energy and it's about even. Mhm.
And it's something I can't talk about. Come have some question of you ask. You never want to say me a blaspheme. Because when you ask her a certain question where me I tell you them think they're really hard, brother. Because this God thing, brother, sometimes
You know one thing with me, Devin. From a little bit, my find say I might think that me ever ask question.
you ask the question them.
All
Yeah,
when the
and
people them, all when the
Yeah.
people them hate it, me ever ask
You and
question.
that,
I
you
go,
know.
remember me I go cross the cross causeway one day with my uncle and me barely see female prison and
Like
me not tap ask him everything he said. Me say, oh well, why women in the prison? Because they commit crimes. Oh well, why are they committing crimes for different reasons? Well, what kind of reasons they would be? Because some of them are from certain backgrounds. Well, when you're from certain backgrounds, why are you the? So I remember when him just said to me, said, Jimmy, relax. Just enjoy the ride. Somebody just telling us say for a long time. Me I ask one heap of question. Me always want to know. I'm a find say
No, man. Let me tell you something.
me prefer for be that way the Devin. Me prefer for ask and know than don't ask
that.
and don't know.
Don't do, man.
and I want
At
to tell you,
least
right?
on
Yeah,
important topics.
And
yeah,
philosophers will tell you that. Sorry, real quick. Philosophers will tell you that children are the ones who ask the best philosophical questions. You grow up, you get educated, and you forget how to ask necessary questions. So you see those questions you're posing. Your uncle got to an age where he was no longer able to respond to the necessary questions you were posing, and that's why it's so instructive and important to listen and
Yeah,
engage with kids.
it's intense thing to answer.
Yeah,
Lala
because
Bella,
yeah, yes, sir.
Lala Bella. I came across a book years ago, and you know what the book is called?
What's
What if
that?
God? What if God was a woman?
Oh, she was. She was.
And yeah, and depending on how you interpret, if you deal with the exegesis of certain earlier scriptures and so forth, it's clear that this Elohim notion is a feminine notion. Feminine
Yeah, cause
notion.
he will really break down, and this is the question me ask, right? Cause when we know said the Bible and certain books and whatever version was written by man, me I say me know the King James Bible was a gift King James give to the queen, not to the common man. I say. So this is what I say. We say God, but yet still we say Mother Nature.
Yeah, and guess what? And in some respects, they're one and the same, right? But I personally don't, we don't have enough bandwidth to touch on it today. And seemingly we're curious
You
about
know,
it. If Michael were to schedule it, we can touch on it. Because I really
Yeah,
want
yeah.
to bring meaningful information to the table. And so
But
forth.
we love the reasoning. Love the
yeah,
reasoning.
man.
Bless up everybody on the panel.
Yeah, man.
I
Bless
say,
up
Big up,
yourself,
man.
brother.
We can touch upon it coming
Jamaica
Monday.
vibes. Jamaica
yeah.
vibes. Me want you there too. So.
Yes.
Me no know your clubhouse thing.
Hold on there.
No,
Hold on.
brother, relax. We are gonna learn.
Hold on. Hold on. I'm not
You're
cut to no.
Rambo
Hold on.
now. You're Rambo now. You're Rambo now.
Yeah, but hold on. Hold on. Don't come in, man. Just understand, no, man. Me did I
Go
work.
ahead,
I
Rambo,
work with
man.
the
Talk to
man. So
your
I say,
Rambo.
yo, the time you want to see me. No, no. Hold on. I say the time you see me mute them, man. Me couldn't get me. Me couldn't even did a follow a while ago. So me, I was going. I was going.
No, the reason
We
that
are
I
cut.
go on is good, man. But I cut where I cut, you know.
Yo, you see yesterday? They have some good conversations. See?
No, you
Yeah,
did a cut out Rambo. We never know you're still at all.
sorry.
I'm gone.
We are,
No, I'm not going nowhere. That's why I say we not end the live, but me not, like my last night discussion because me telling you, so when me never did a follow, I couldn't even follow.
I just watch it play. Just watch it play forward, man.
Yeah,
Yeah.
actually,
A
yeah,
good
Rambo.
discussion, man.
We're going to touch back on the topic
We have to have it
Monday.
again. Yeah, we have to have it again, said we.
Monday, the length,
You know?
Monday,
Touch points on topic
Monday
about the
afternoon.
King James Version, that too, you know.
Yeah,
Oh,
we are delving our Bible next week.
Yeah,
Oh,
man.
Michael. Well,
Yo.
Michael.
Yo.
Well, Michael, I talk to the artist now. You say 6
Yeah.
o'clock. What time that New York time?
About 12, 1.
Around 12,
Michael,
right?
New York.
don't say about. Give
Yeah,
actual
I
time.
will send it to you on IG, yeah?
All
And
right, no
Jamaica
problem.
and the doubles, I just right on the road there, so man. I just right up there, so right on the road there, so. And all you walk, you can't reach.
Hey,
All right, big up.
in a holiday, as me I tell you, say yo, before you cut the mic, in a holiday, on a good emancipation. I have a topic I'm going to talk about in a day like about the hero them and who we think are hero and why them are hero and who we think
Yeah.
Yeah, man, yeah, man.
I'm not going to reach.
Where
And,
yeah, in I Saturday I'm going to do it in I broad day like that. Probably
and
brought
guess
them.
what?
All
And guess
right.
what? I'm going to talk about my poem, No Hero of Mine.
Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong
Nothing
with
wrong with
that.
Double mint. Why your clubhouse name?
Find me on Insta, Double Mint Lounge.
All right, I got you.
Then it's in my profile. That's why I tell you find me.
Yeah, I got you. All right, everybody, no bless up for yourself. Michael.
Yeah, man, Michael.
Them type of reason I love Michael, because we're not seeing a hostility and no rare over here, so when them type of reason you go on. So it's peaceful.
Peaceful.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
But guess what? Devin, they did it yesterday too. Sorry.
And Devin, big up Devin.
Yeah, man, me that talk to them still, man.
Yeah, man,
Devin. Big up everybody, big up Devin, big up Bob's way past.
The man don't talk now, we know you want left. But make a man say sentence.
No, when I said Devin, they did it yesterday have good conversation too, you know. So it's just the people who are talking who makes a difference versus even the subject. Because they, you know what I mean, the conversation yesterday was good too. We're talking about music. So we're just expanding on that. And that's the best way to go forward. And don't get me wrong, you know, sometimes we impulsively want to jump in and respond to certain things, but we just have to practice so that we can better share with the wider audience. So I love it.
Right.
And I geek out when I come to them thing here. And Michael just make one know what you talk about and we'll find all notes them and we'll jump in it.
That's good.
Big up.
Yes, sir. Bless up
Bye,
everybody,
y'all.
man. Guidance and
Pick up
protection.
Yeah, man. Love and light. See?
All right.
Cool.
Nice.